got time, cuz. Today I got time, cuz. You lucky on that day I was acting cool, cuz. Nigga, what's up? How gangster are you, cuz? I don't fuck with you, cuz you disrespecting me. I don't fuck with you, cuz you disrespecting me. I go hard,
cuz. Hey, y'all. Hope y'all are doing good today. Oh, my gosh. It has been a long 48 hours for me. Y'all know I've been busy with my gardening, child. Call me Farmer T. It's been a lot going on. I did not know gardening was so painful. So I'm kind of under the weather a little bit. But yeah, I was repotting, oh my gosh, for 2 days straight till like 2 a.m. Then yesterday I had to clean my house, deep clean, you know what I'm saying, get everything together, yes. But everything is repotted and I'm just super excited to watch I just want my harvest to harvest, okay? But it's a lot. When I woke up this morning, I could barely get out of bed. Shoulders hurt, arms, my legs, my thighs, my back, like, gardening really is a workout. Like, oh my gosh, I did not know, child. They be looking so cute in them fields. Shit. It makes me have newfound respect for farmers, gardeners, my lawn guys who be out there. It's really made me have a newfound respect. Like, it's a lot of work. It is very hard work, you know what I'm saying? But I've been at it. I told y'all I'm taking this seriously this year. I'm really learning how to grow my own crops, and I'm proud of myself. But it is like even now my back hurts and everything. But I'm going to hang in there, child. Yes. Green thumb. I'm going to hang in there. I can't wait to, you know what I'm saying, reap my harvest. And all the folks who didn't help, don't come to my house asking for no damn zucchini, squash, onions, okra. Okay, I'm the little hen who could. Y'all remember how the little hen was asking people for help and they didn't want to help? And so she, you know what I'm saying, she planted the seeds, she harvested the wheat, she made the bread. And then when everybody started smelling that good old fresh baked bread, they came through wanting a plate. And the little hen was like, nah, y'all didn't help me plant shit. Y'all didn't help me harvest nothing. Y'all didn't help me make the bread. But y'all are here with you know, empty bellies and plates. Yes, I'm taking it back to elementary school. Oh my gosh. But anyways, y'all, thank y'all for joining me today. I really wanted to go live yesterday, but like I said, it was a lot going on. But when I tell you, this weekend I was saying, like, you know, it's been a slow, you know, news week. Hasn't been a lot in the celebrity world. With shit. Come Monday, everything, you know what I'm saying, just has hit the fan. It's a lot of legal stuff going on in the celebrity world. You know, we have the whole DDG and, you know, Halle Bailey and Diddy and Cassie and now Tory Lanes and Megan. So my phone was blowing up yesterday. Everybody wanted to know my opinion on the whole Tory Megan situation. So we'll talk about that later on in the stream. Let's start. Oh, was that what the name was? Henny Penny? Okay. Shout out to all my 90s kids. Henny Penny, that was the name of that damn hen. She said, y'all not eating my bread, bitch. I work too hard. Oh, y'all is so funny. I don't forget nothing. But so we're gonna start with the Cassie situation. I've been keeping up so we'll start with like a video from day 3 from the news, and then we'll work our way on to what's going on today. But you know, it's not disturbing to me at all this stuff that's coming out about Diddy. You know, people have been asking me, you know, T, are you shocked? You know, no. I mean, if y'all have been following me for any length of time, especially if you're an OG tea sipper, I've never liked Diddy. And I've been clear on that. I remember when people used to like threaten me for like going in on Diddy. Everything that he's ever done to me was insincere. Especially when he tried to go against Diageo, when he was trying to talk against the Grammy board for like, you know, for not making a space for black artists. But meanwhile, this man has basically robbed and done so much dirt to people who look like himself. So I've never had any respect for Diddy. I've kept the same attitude since the late 2000s. Once I realized the only people who were making any type of money, who were, you know, any type of relevant was him. But he had access to all of these talented people and sucked them dry like the energy vampire that he is. So everything that Diddy is going through, I don't feel bad for him. What's disturbing to me, though, I will say with this case, is that he's such a narcissist that he's trying to use his children as like as a cover. You know, like, oh, please don't forget I have all these kids. Why would you want your 3 daughters to sit and listen to your sexual exploits in real time? Think about how demonic and disgusting that is. That is diabolical work. It's one thing that they're seeing this on the internet. You would think as a parent you'd want to shield your children. Like, I'm sorry, if that was my dad, I wouldn't be there. You know, that's still my daddy. You still gonna love him because that's your dad. But I don't want to hear the ins and outs of your sexual exploits. Because think about this. These girls are listening to what he did to this young woman who's now grown. When he was doing all this stuff to Cassie, right? When he was grooming her and manipulating her, she wasn't too much older than what his daughters are now. His daughters are now all 18 years old. He started dating Cassie at 19. Another thing, I would be sitting there thinking like, damn, he had to been doing this to my mother as well. Because let's not forget, Kim Porter was a big old swinger. I mean, y'all don't like to talk about Kim Porter, but, you know, Kim Porter was out there doing a bunch of devious shit too, you know what I'm saying, to maintain her spot. Let's not forget the one with the broke foot, Justin's mama, Misa. She's suing Mary J. Blige. Now, broke foot Misa is out here defending and going to show support to Diddy, which to me is just insane because she got her ass whipped by Diddy multiple times. But let's not forget, Kim Porter was friends with Misa. And then basically started smashing Diddy behind Misa's back. So Kim Porter done did some sneaky shit too. You know, R.I.P. the dead, but I keep it real over here. So if you're offended, move around. So she did a lot of freaky stuff with Diddy's, threesomes, all types of stuff. So you know the daughters are thinking this. It's just very, very disturbing. And then remember the same thing happened to Kim Porter. She was friends with Chase's mama. Oh, they was thick as thieves, honey. I forget her name. The one that used to fuck with Tupac. She was friends with Chase's mama. And then Chase's mama did her the same way, started fucking with Diddy behind her back. All of these baby mamas were all friends. Literally, friends. So, you know, it's a messy situation, and it's sad that these children are being brought into this and having to listen to this. There was something that she said yesterday on day 3. Because remember, I was saying that when I was reading her day 1, the court documents. And I was saying to myself, the fact that he's using all of this, you know, baby oil is not a lubricant. And remember, I was saying, I can only imagine the stuff she was going through down there. Because you're just having sex nonstop with different men. I could just imagine the BV and everything. Well, in her day 2 testimony, Cassie hit on that. She said that she had so many urinary tract infections. And I'm also going to include BV infections because I refuse to believe that she didn't contact some type of BV with all the different peens going in and out of her. Like, think about this, right? As a woman, you're not supposed to have sex every single day. And, you know, if you're just a natural young woman, you there's a week off naturally because you're on your period, right? The fact that this man had her having sex literally for 4 hours, 4 days straight with multiple men, it even came out that he would make her have sex during her period. Okay? She had so many infections in her throat that it was hard for her to even drink water. Her throat was just that infected. It burned when she drank because remember, they're making her drink urine. And urine is very acidic. And then remember that nasty, disgusting biscuit head bitch, Carisha, sat on her platform, Carisha, please, and try to normalize it to young girls that it's okay to let your man pee on you. Remember, I called her ass out. Like, y'all got to look at the big picture. They are trying to normalize deviancy. A man who loves you is not going to pee on you. That is degrading. To pee on somebody, to make somebody drink pee, is disgusting. I mean, what's next? And she tried to normalize it like, oh, I like golden showers. No, you're just a thought. You like the lifestyle, and you're willing to let this demon pee on you as long as the ends justify the means. And that's why I'll never have respect for somebody like Carisha. She sold her soul a long time ago. So she said basically, not only would they pee on her, he would pee in her mouth. The male strippers, the male porn stars would pee in her mouth to the point where she'd choke because she'd had so much pee going down her throat. How degrading and disgusting. The fact that they're doing all this piss play, she's having to have sex on her period with strange men. This is what you call sex magic. All of this is a sexual ritual. This goes a lot deeper than just being graphic. This goes a lot deeper than just, a kink. This was a ritual. And even though she might have agreed to it initially, once no was brought up, once she said she didn't want to do this anymore, and she was still forced to go from New York to out of the country to LA and wherever else, that was a ritual. This man was literally pimping her out and recording it. Remember, 50 Cent came out and said this years ago that he had seen videos of Cassie on tape. Her videos were being passed around the industry. I mean, it was just insane to listen to that. She said she had so many urinary tract infections that antibiotics no longer worked. They no longer did anything for her. Imagine how bad you have to been fucked that every other week you're going to the doctor, that your body has built up a tolerance, a resilience to the antibiotics. And they gave it to her in pill form and shot form. It didn't work after a while. When you have some type of infection in your body, you're only supposed to use antibiotics for a week? And that's it, because you don't want your body to build a tolerance to antibiotics. So imagine she had so much raw sex with so many different men for long periods of time that she would contract all of these UTIs and BVs, that antibiotics no longer worked for her. That is insane. She said she didn't derive any pleasure. She'd be so dry. Because, I mean, after a while, especially when, it's going down, it's not a turn on. So that's why they would then use the baby oil, not only to grease themselves up like fried chicken, but as a lubricant. And baby oil is not water-based. So that also caused a lot of damage to her as well. Her story is sad. It is sad. But it makes me think, and look at things like, a lot of people are saying, well, she could have got out if she wanted to. Why didn't she just leave? How do you get caught up in something like that? And I mean, and I get those people having those questions, but we also have to remember that in the Black community, in the American community, in hip hop, people like Sean Puffy Combs, Jay-Z, and Russell Simmons, and many others, we were taught to look at them as Black excellence. We were taught to look at them as, that's what you want to strive to be. That's making it. You're rich. You're successful. You're famous. You're in the club popping Cristal. The big pimping, big yacht video. Like, these people were larger than life to our generation. Making the band was literally the soundtrack of our, our childhood. I remember begging my ex-husband, because at the time he used to rap. I'm like, you should go try out. This could change our life. A lot of us wanted to go on that show. So you've been watching this man since you were little. You're seeing him in the Mo Money, Mo Problems video. You're seeing him with Biggie. He has been an intricate part of our lives since we were children. That's what a lot of people don't understand. So now you happen to, quote unquote, luck up and get in the room with somebody that powerful, somebody that you've always looked up to as Black excellence, as something that people in the community should strive to be like. It's not that hard to groom when you have that type of reputation. Because remember when he got with her, this was back in like the early 2000s. So making the band, he was still popular. He was still well liked, still well respected. And she was young. And a lot of times when you're young, you just want to please people. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman, right? We all have been in relationships where you just want to please that person. You want that person to love you. You want to do what they ask of you. You may not be comfortable with doing oral, but you're willing to do it because you really love this man or you really love this woman. And you may do things that you may not be comfortable with, but you know they like it, so you're willing to do it. You're willing to compromise. And then let's also not forget that lifestyle is a very powerful thing. You have women who will compromise and put up with abuse with men who have a fraction of what Diddy has. They will sit there and let a man drive their car all day, disrespect them, cheat on them, do all types of bullshit, and the man literally works at Bojangles. Shout out to the fry cook. So imagine if the man is Diddy and you're living the life, right, quote unquote, that people could only dream of. You're going to the most tropical places. You're on the red carpet. Everybody's knowing your name and who you are because of your adjacency to him. When you're young, that is what you look at. When you're young, you tend to move more superficially. Just being honest. It's not until you get older and you've been through things that you realize, hey, it's not always about looks. It's not always about a six-pack. It's not always about money and cars. It's about how that person truly treats you, how they value you, how they love you. And a lot of times you don't really understand it until you get older, until your brain fully develops and you're able to kind of look at things. And even when you're older, sometimes you don't see stuff because you're in it. We've all been in those situations where you've been in it. You're in the middle of it. So you don't see the forest through the trees. But everybody on the outside looking in, they can see it. But you're not trying to hear it because you're in it. So it's very easy to judge. It's very easy to be on the outside and say what you would and wouldn't do. Again, we were the generation of young girls where for us to get up out the hood, to make it, it was to be a model, a singer, a dancer, a video vixen. Those were the things that were fed to us as teenagers and young people. So for all of us who didn't make it that far in the modeling industry or in the pursuit of trying to be a video vixen, we all need to thank God, because sometimes, like I always tell y'all, rejection is protection. Unfortunately for her, she was one of the chosen ones. But she wasn't chosen for God's purpose. She was chosen for the devil's purpose. And that's just being real. So I feel bad for Cassie. She's been through a lot. Yes, video vixens, Shania, you might be young, but yes, when we were growing up, that was a lot of people wanted to be video vixens. You got money, you lived the lifestyle. Who didn't want to be in the big pimping video and be like a Gloria Velez or, Esther Baxter, Buffy the Body? Like, let's not act new here. Especially if you were one of those people that was interested in being in the entertainment industry. And that was a way into the entertainment industry. Video vixens. They were bigger than life when we were growing up. But now as we gotten older, we're finding out A lot of them were pimped and trafficked. So the rabbit hole goes deep. The rabbit hole goes very, very deep. Yeah. Yep. Video vixens were before the IG models and baddies. Thank you, Anna. Yeah, for the young ones who don't get it, that's a perfect analogy. The video vixens of our era are the same way y'all look at Jada Chivez and who's the other one that always says that y'all are broke because she ain't talking to me. With the pudgy face. I can't think of her name. I see her face. But it's like those girls that y'all follow on social media. The IG baddies. What's her name with the pudgy face? I can't, child. I can't even. No. I can't think of her name. She's always calling folks broke, child. Ari Fletcher. Thank you. That's the one. Ari. It's just, I'm like, I know she got that little chubby ass face. But her. The same way y'all look up to her and, you know, it's the same thing for us. We were looking at the Gloria Velez's and the Esther Baxter's and the, you know, well, we didn't want to be like Superhead, but she was definitely in a lot of videos. So, yeah. So let me go ahead here. Looks like we got some super chats here. Hey, Wavy Tay. Wavy Tay sent $49.99. He says, hey, Auntie, it's your favorite soldier checking in. I got promoted to E5 Sergeant and NCO, a leader of the soldiers. You have inspired me with your words of wisdom. Also, the men and women who were supporting Diddy just lets us know how godless this society is. Amen. Well, congratulations to you, Wavy. I'm so proud of you. I'm really glad that everything is working out for you right now in the military. So kudos to you. That's awesome. Being promoted to sergeant. That is so dope. All right, so let me go ahead. Let's watch some of these. I have like just like a host of different stuff. I have some things too that I kind of wanted to read, but my damn voice right now. Let me see. Inner City Press been, you know, keeping up with the tea. I do want to read some of this stuff about her relationship with Kid Cudi. So I'm going to read some of this. I'm going to play some videos from people who are in the trial. I really wish this was not live streamed, but broadcasted. I hate the fact that it's a federal case because when it's federal, you're not able to see it. I think they should have made an exception. They need to embarrass his ass. I hate the fact that we had to, you know, go through third parties, but it is what it is. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so let's start here. Okay, so this is Combs' lawyer here. Says, your affair with Mr. Miscuddy was only a month long, but you got a burner phone for it? Cassie says, right. Then they say, Mr. Combs kicked you in the back? She says, yes. Then they say, this came up later in your relationship that you had cheated on him with Kid Cudi. She says he brought it up quite a bit. When he cheated, he said, well, you had an affair with Kid Cudi, right? She said, sometimes. Then they say he suspected of you having an affair with another person in the industry when you were in South Africa filming. She says, yes, honey 3. Then they say while you were there, you saw a photo of Mr. Combs with Gina and you were irate, right? She says angry. I'm assuming Gina is the Asian girl, Gina Hung, whatever her name is. Let's see here. Then they say you blocked him and focused on the movie, right? She says, I tried my best. Then they say Mr. Combs suspected you of a relationship with who? She says Michael B. Jordan. Oh, child. Now Mr. Sinner's getting drug up in this mess. Then they say you sent a video not only to Mr. Combs, but also to the staff. Who, D-Rock? She says, yes. You sent it to them because you were angry with all of them. She says, I was hurt because I spent time with them and you thought they were in on it. Now, what's crazy is D-Rock was, I think, one of Biggie's like right-hand men, and he was in Junior Mafia. I'm really shocked to see him all through this. So D-Rock knew a lot about this abuse and did nothing because, once again, he was benefiting from being a part of Diddy's entourage. So I'm really disappointed in D-Rock because these are the same trash men who will sit there and talk shit about their daughters. Oh, if anybody does anything to my daughter, we're riding. I got my guns. You know, ain't nobody fucking with my daughter. Gang, gang. All this bullshit when it comes to their fucking daughters. Just like Diddy's twins and Chance. Oh, he'll be ready to ride out for his daughters. But they don't care if other people's daughters get abused. Just disgusting. Disgusting. So then they go on to say, the physical abuse, when did your father learn about it? She says the same time as my mother. Then they say, did Mr. Combs come to Connecticut to speak to your parents? She says, I don't know if it was then. Then they ask about Carrie Morgan knew about the abuse. They're going to say the eyebrow gash incident. What was that about? She says she didn't answer the phone and went to sleep. I was supposed to be packing for a trip. Was he inebriated? She says, I don't remember. Then they say, why were you asleep? She says, a drink at the Abbey had something in it, I think. Did Mr. Combs ever abuse you while you were inebriated? Then say he didn't remember it? She said, yes. Then they say, did you feel like he was not taking responsibility? She says, yes. For drugs, you'd both go to rehab? She says, rehab wasn't a thing during our relationship. Then they say the freak-offs were an opportunity for you to take drugs together. She said, yes. You went a lot to the Burning Man? She said, yes. Huh. Burning Man. Now, if you know anything about Burning Man, that's also a big ritual. So that's interesting that she went to Burning Man a lot. And I'm sure they were having all types of freak-offs during Burning Man and also burning her coochie. I'm just saying. Then they go on to say, did you ever call yourself the Get High Partners? She says, we did. Then they said, did you take drugs from him without him knowing it? She said, yes. What was his reaction? She says, explosive. Did he tell you what LA dealers and to not deal with you? She said, yes. Then they say, you told Miss Coram that you learned of only after the fact that Mr. Combs had dangled Miss Bongolan off the balcony. She said, I'm not sure. Then they said, were you on drugs? She says, I'm not sure. You got a life coach for your drug use, according to this document. She says, I don't know who that person is. Then they say, you were doing a lot of drugs. She says, it was a rough time. Let's see. Let me kind of go on. They're talking about opiates. Let me keep scrolling. Okay, now here they're reading some of the text messages because what they're trying to basically spin and say is that she was a willing participant. She was a freak too and she liked it. So they're saying here, they're reading the text. You say, baby, I want a FO so bad. You were asked in your direct and you said you didn't want him to ruin your premiere. She said, sure. Then they said, Mr. Combs says, if we start at 7, we can go until 4 a.m. You can get enough rest after that. Then they say, he's saying it'd be shorter than your usual freak off. She says, that's how I would understand it. Then they say, what do you say? She says, Carrie is here. We can't do it in my home. Then they say, you say that guy is sick and I'm not going to ask you what you meant. Then they say, you were turning to Johnny. He was a dancer and escort. She says, we hired him as a dancer, but he did what an escort does. Do you remember the beginning of the freak-offs in the Intercontinental? She says, not really. Then they say the drugs were bad, MDMA, right? She says, I have no idea. Then the judge says it's 5 o'clock. Jurors may go home. All rise. Now, they said that Danny D. Kane, I want to say D. Woods. No, Don, Richard, and Aubrey, I believe, are testifying tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead. We're going to watch some of these news organizations talk about the situation. Okay, there's a lawyer, actually. She talks about some stuff, too. So I want to watch what this lawyer has to say. So we're going to watch some of this stuff together.
Lunchtime update, Cassie on the stand, her first day of cross-examination. And I don't want to say it's super intense because Diddy's lawyer, Anna Estevea, she's doing an amazing job at being very gentle. I mean, Cassie and her have exchanged a few laughs while she was on the stand, which I thought was pretty incredible. And additionally, there's a lot of explicit graphic text that we're seeing from Cassie to Diddy and vice versa. And Estevea is saying, look, if you don't want to read these, you don't have to, which I thought was really nice. Also, when Cassie answers and it's kind of a yes or no question, Estevea isn't like, it's yes or no. She's being very, very calm and very kind. Now, what we saw like right off the bat here was a conversation via BlackBerry between Diddy and Cassie about 2.5 years into their relationship. And remember, at this point, Cassie testified during direct that he had abused her. She didn't want to do freak offs, you know, all this stuff. And she actually said that he said, you know, I miss you already. When do you want to FO? That was Diddy. And she said, I'm always ready to FO. And again, this was August of 2009, about 2 years into their relationship. They talk about when it would be best for them. And then they talk about getting an escort involved. And then we see a text message that says, I can't wait to stare at your BBD. You guys know what I'm talking about. And again, lawyer did not make her say it out loud. There's, yeah, a lot of explicit text messages. And look, I think some of the takeaways here at what the defense is doing and what they're eliciting out of Cassie is, again, the email saying she loves him after these FOs. And don't get mad at me. Don't tell me, you know, I understand how trauma works, but I'm just relaying all this to you guys. So Cassie testified that she had to do freak offs during her period. And we were shown an email where Diddy, for FO planning purposes, asks her when she's getting her period. And she says she's skipping it that month. Additionally, she testified that she didn't want to be a swinger because she didn't want to see him with another.
Again, this goes back to rituals. Most men are not even they don't even want to be around you half the time you're on your period because you got an attitude, you're tired, don't want to be bothered. He is demanding to know when she's about to be on her period so that way these men can sleep with her, and him too as well, can sleep with her on her period. Again, this is sex magic. These are rituals that are being done in the industry. This is not just sex. It's just not, oh, she's a big old freak. She is being forced to have sex during her period with strange men. This is ritual magic.
Their woman. Well, we see an exchange where she says she has a fantasy about seeing him with another woman. And I'm paraphrasing here. She also says at one point that, quote, she'd travel anywhere to be with him. And this is while they are discussing an FO in this one message, this BlackBerry message. Another big thing here is the drug talk and the opioid talk. So Cassie testified that Diddy told her he was addicted to opioids. And the defense is basically saying, well, did you see him try to get off these opioids or come down from them? And she said, yeah. And then they said, well, you know, that makes one volatile, angry. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but basically what they were alluding to is that Diddy's violent behavior and aggressive behavior and all of his mood swings that she talked about were because he was coming down from opioids. Let me make sure. I feel like I have so many notes from today. Yeah, again, a lot of graphic messages, mainly about Cassie saying how much she liked it after it happened. It was so good, and she's talking about FOs. Oh, something really big that they're trying to prove here. Cassie felt like she didn't have the words to relate to Diddy because she was so young that she didn't want to do this and yada yada, referring to the FOs. Well, we've seen a lot of messages from Cassie to Diddy that are paragraphs, let's say, explaining certain things to him, really seeming to wear her heart on her sleeve. At one point she said, look, I'm unsure about the FOs because I feel like, before when we were doing them, and this is a few years into their relationship, she said, before we were doing them, I could spend time with you after. Now we're doing them and you're leaving right away for work, and I'm not getting that time with you. So the defense is kind of like, well, it looks like she's able to communicate this stuff. And is it fair to say that this is the reason that you didn't want to do freak offs? Not everything that you testified yesterday. Again, don't get mad at me. I'm just explaining.
I'm glad she's explaining. So I think that part from what she's saying is that, again, like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, sometimes in relationships, men or women will do things to, initially satisfy their partner or do things that they may not have been comfortable with, but you're willing to do it because you want to keep this person or because you even love them. So people will invite people into their bedroom. I mean, think about all these people, all these damn celebrity freaks are always talking about damn threesomes and bringing people into their bedrooms. But then at some point, the threesomes go off the wall. You know what I'm saying? Look at Iman and Tiana. They was doing a hobo tour telling everybody their bedroom business. We like to bust bitches down. And then what happened? You fast forward 5 years later, it got old, huh? It didn't matter how many bitches you bought in the bedroom, huh? He was still disrespecting you. He still wanted more. So it's like, just because you open the floodgates does not mean it's going to be the same thing. So initially when they were doing it, he was getting her comfortable. Like, I just like to do freaky stuff, but then he would still be in her presence and spend time with her. She still felt like they were in a relationship. But then after a while, he just got comfortable. People, treat you how you allow them to treat you. So after a while, he was like, well, I'm going to pimp her out and do what I got to do and move on. So for her, from her vantage point, this no longer feels like a relationship. This no longer feels like me and my man are just liking to do threesomes together. This feels like I'm being exploited and used. So just that's how I'm seeing it. Let's continue.
About what the defense's strategy seems to be and what they're going for. They also went into the fact that, look, you testified that it would take you days to come down from these FOs and you would waste so much time of your life trying to recover. Diddy was doing the same thing. He was coming down from these too. Is it fair to say that he was still running a business, running running his own life, running Bad Boy Records and traveling here and there, basically saying, well, he was fine. He didn't have to recover for days. That's your problem. Again, just some observations.
The nerve of his attorney to say that he didn't have to recover. It didn't take him days to recover. One, Diddy's a functioning addict. And this man probably been doing cocaine and all types of drugs, since the damn 80s. Okay? And two, last time I checked, men are the ones who are the givers. She is the receiver. He's not in there smashing for 4 hours straight, 4 days straight. She is. She's having to take on different peens and energy and all types of disgusting shit for upwards of 4 days. They even said yesterday that half the time, his ass wouldn't even be at the freak-offs. When it got near to the end of their relationship, he'd be in Japan working or be in LA, and then she'd have to FaceTime him the freak-offs. So of course she's gonna need more time to recover than him. He done busted a quick one and went out the door. So it's insane for them to even trying to use that as some type of defense. It's crazy. Of course it's gonna take her more time to recover. She's the one having to be dripped in baby oil.
Cassie doing a great job holding it together, so calm, so poised. And Anna Estevea, really great. I mean, a lot of defense attorneys can badger these witnesses and really come across unlikable to the jury. But like I said, they're sharing laughs. They, you know, she's not too aggressive. She's getting her point across without being a jerk. So I will give you guys more later. And I mean, you're probably gonna see it printed on TMZ, everywhere else, but these text messages are so graphic. And I just feel so bad for Cassie because she was so young, and to have her sex life just plastered, you know, on these big screens and of course across the media world, crazy. Oh, we also saw this morning in line, we saw her brother walk in. Her husband is not in the courtroom because he can't be, because he may be called as a witness and they're getting into some things that he shouldn't hear. But he was here yesterday. But anyway, more later. Thanks, guys.
All right, let me come on the screen. So yeah, that's sad. Now imagine her brother is there. You know, that is very embarrassing. Because imagine like her brother, her family, they now have to hear like the details of like, you know, how she was getting smutted out and all that stuff. So it's really sad, you know, all this stuff that's going on. So let's go ahead. We're going to watch a few more videos here. Let me see. Okay, for day 3. So this just came out about an hour ago. So we're going to watch some of this here. Give me just a second.
She fell in love with him when she was 21. She was in Miami. He had maneuvered to bring her down there for an event where he was going to be, kissed her in a hotel, and then they went out. And then, believe it or not, while she's 21, these freak-offs started happening. So the relationship evolved, but it was on again, it was off again. They also detailed the relationship she had with Ryan Leslie, a producer and a musician, for about 3 years. He was 10 years her senior. That was right before she got involved with Combs. So there were a lot of relationships and what you might call, what some people call situationships, where they're on again, off again, and then it evolved. And then very soon, by the end of that first year, when she's now 22, she said that he basically took control of her entire life. That was a lot of that painful testimony from yesterday, where he controlled her money, he controlled where she lived, he controlled what she wore, he controlled what she did. Her music career, basically, which had looked promising, and you know, at the beginning when she met him, was on the sideline, and everything was about these freak-offs. And Andy, we got an idea too of the number of them.
Objection. Who was the artist? Like, who was the sketch artist? These sketches these sketches look horrible. I'm sorry, I have to object real quick. That sketch is ugly.
Talking about hundreds, she said, hundreds of these freak-offs. And then today with these text messages, you mentioned that. I think it's important to touch on that. A lot of these text messages had, "I love you, baby, I love you," going back and forth. But then the explicit ones were talking about, you know, it was basically love and lust. And to show that she was not, that she actively wanted him. And I think that was a strategy there, because remember, what they're trying to do is sow some doubt in the minds of those jurors who, after that prosecution case, which was presented with surgical precision, step by step, you know, milestone by milestone in their relationship, to sow some doubt in their mind about the fact that she was a victim, and to show that she was a willing participant in this. And a lot of talk today about this drug use, which was rampant. She was asked, would you consider Diddy a high functioning drug addict? And she said yes, because I mean, the other thing that's incredible is that while he's at the height of his career, his business, his basically building his empire at this point early on in those first 5 years of their relationship, doing all these drugs, all these freak-offs, and yet he's still running these multi-million-dollar businesses and becoming the billionaire that ended up on the Forbes billionaires list. So it was very fascinating. And at times the jury looked bored, though, because the defense was, you know, after the prosecution, which was basically like rapid fire by the script and everything planned out, there was a lot of lag time. Some of the jurors looked, as if they were getting a little bit bored with it. But we'll see where it's all going, and that's not quite clear yet. But we think it's definitely according to the defense's plan that they outlined early on in the pre-trial hearings, where they were going to insist domestic violence, not sex trafficking, and we'll see which side eventually the jury decides on. Andy?
Yeah, there is mounting evidence, and this is just really the beginning, the first week of it expected to be 8-week trial. Let's get into the text messages, because like you mentioned, those are so very interesting, and they pointed to one text from Cassie to Diddy that said, quote, "I'm always ready to freak off," relating to some of these sexual escapades there taking place between the two. And it also, Cassie appeared to be upset that they took some of these out of context. Do we see her get frustrated with some of the questioning during cross-examination?
Well, I think that the whole thing was, they were trying to show that these freak-offs, which, just to remind everybody, it involved her having sex with another man while Diddy watched. And then what they added to that today, what she said, she goes, yeah, and of course the text messages too were entered into evidence saying this, that after they would have these freak-offs where he's watching her have sex with other men, she says, oh, then we would make love. And I love those sessions. I don't know if you can hear me with everything here, but I love the way we make love after the FOs, which was after the freak-offs. So that was creating a very different picture of somebody who was essentially yesterday portrayed as a sex slave who had very little say in what was happening to her. Here it is, she's saying, yes, I love this. This was our way of doing it. Now, she explained that she all she really wanted was a kind of a basic relationship with Combs, one-on-one, that type of a thing, and that clearly was not in the cards for them, and it was clearly not something that Combs had any interest in whatsoever being exclusive, because jealousy was another big theme that the defense had said they were going to show, and that was portrayed in some of those text messages too, Andy.
Yeah, there's
All right, let me come back on the screen here. So, let's talk about it. So, the part where they're talking about, like, the jealousy, her texting and all that stuff and acting like, she liked it and, she loves the freak offs. Again, I feel like that's just her trying to pander to him, to his ego, in hopes of, like they were saying, that he would eventually be exclusive to her. But the problem is what Cassie doesn't understand, because at the time she was very young, you get them how, you lose them how you get them, right? When she got with Diddy, she was in a relationship with Ryan Leslie, who also was 10 years older than her, so clock that T. But Diddy was with Kim Porter at the time. So Cassie cheated on Ryan, and Diddy cheated on Kim Porter, and they were doing their own thing. So unfortunately, what a lot of people don't realize, women, men, that when you start a relationship based on cheating and falsehoods and sneaking around, that person's never going to give you their all, because you guys built a home on a shaky foundation. Okay? So I think that was the part that, that hurt her. She thought that if she gave him her all and did these freak-offs, eventually she'd be the quote-unquote the first lady of, the P. Diddy household. Well, even Kim didn't get that. Kim Porter was cheated on all through the relationship. I still remember those pictures and videos of her walking behind J-Lo and Diddy like a lost puppy. And, the thing that also trips me out with this whole situation with Diddy is that what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. He can have all types of side relationships. He can mess with Gina and still mess with Kim when he felt like it. But Cassie better not date anybody else. As soon as she said, okay, well, fine, you gonna do it, I'm gonna go do me, and she got with Kid Cudi, he tried to blow up Kid Cudi's car in his driveway. And I think that's the part that's very, very disturbing, is that, rules for thee, but not for me. Classic narcissist. He can cheat and, bring other girls home and do this and that, but she better not do it. And I also think that one of the final straws for them, outside of the beatings and everything else, was when he got with Madam Carisha, who herself is another alleged sex trafficker and drug dealer, allegedly. And I think for her, that was even more of a slap in the face. Think about it. You've been fucking me since I was literally 19. And having other people, strangers, all types of men run, have sex with me on my period, do all the nasty, freaky shit. And I haven't dropped not one album. I haven't received not one podcast. Look at all this shit he did for Carisha versus Cassie. But I also feel like he did a lot of that stuff for Carisha because he was trying to tap into the next generation. Because nobody was checking for him or that stupid ass Love album. So what better way than to, you know, than to attach myself to the younger girls than by dating 28-year-old Carisha. So I think that caused a lot of conflict. It really did. And you can't tell me that Carisha wasn't doing the same things. I refuse to believe that he just did all this to Cassie and Carisha's nasty ass just, you know, they didn't do anything. But meanwhile, Carisha's walking around with white nail polish. I showed y'all in the video that I did Monday. Before she got with Diddy, she had regular crazy nails like most girls do with the different colors and designs. But when she got with him, she was wearing the white nail polish too. And she's the type to do anything for a bag. So I don't put anything past Carisha at all. And then think about even when she did that sit down with Santana, not one time did she hold Diddy accountable or say that, you know, what he did to Cassie was wrong. She felt like, well, that wasn't my story, so it is what it is. But that's because she probably enjoyed it and she was down for the freak fest as long as the bag was right. So, yeah. It's just, you know, the whole situation is just extremely, extremely disturbing. Let's see here. We got another video we can watch on the case as well, too. So let me pull this one up here. All right, let's check this one out.
Continued today with more testimony from his girlfriend, Cassie Ventura.
This time, defense attorneys questioned her about texts that she and the rapper exchanged during their relationship. We do want to warn you, the video and the testimony is disturbing.
Here's Fox News correspondent C.B. Cotton from New York.
The ex-girlfriend of disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs returning to the stand in his federal sex trafficking trial. Under cross-examination, defense attorneys read sexually explicit messages between Cassie Ventura and Combs as part of their argument that Cassie willingly participated in the rapper's so-called freak-offs, though she testified that their relationship was complicated.
They have a couple different angles that they can go with, the defense, right? They can say that she was jealous. They can say that she was, this was consensual, that she was essentially willing to subject herself to this for a lavish lifestyle.
On Wednesday, Cassie told prosecutors that she underwent therapy and even considered taking her own life when the relationship ended. Jurors have seen disturbing surveillance video of Combs assaulting Cassie in 2016 during what she says was a drug-fueled sex party and leaving her with a black eye. Diddy apologized when part of that video was released last year. Prosecutors claim Combs ran a criminal enterprise through his business empire, where he and his associates engaged in sex trafficking and forced labor. He pleaded not guilty to the charges. His defense attorneys say while there was domestic violence in Diddy's relationships, any sexual acts were consensual.
They can't minimize that for fear of alienating the jury, but they have to take this and distinguish it from RICO and racketeering cases and conspiracy for prostitution, crossing state lines for the purpose of prostitution.
Combs' trial is expected to last anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
Here in Georgia, renewed hope for survivors of domestic violence who fought back against their accusers.
Governor Brian Kemp.
All right, let me come back on the screen here. So, like I said, it's a lot. This trial is going to be going on for a while. It's going to be even more tea. They said Jonathan Odie, I thought they said he was supposed to go on the trial today and come to the courtroom, but I haven't seen any of his transcripts yet. But they done found Jonathan Odie. Now, remember back in 2018, people dismissed it. They thought he was just some crazy, escort or whatever. He was tied to the whole Trump hotel shooting. But everything that Jonathan Odie said in that interview matched to a T with what was going on with Cassie. I mean, the fact that this man, who was a clear bisexual, would sit there and watch this girl just get ran through. That was like his whole thing, having all these different men just run through her. He's a sick individual. Very, very sick. Yeah, they found Jonathan Odie. They said that he's supposed to be going to trial and testifying. So that's what I last heard. Yeah, a lot of people thought he died, but they said that he's supposed to be coming to the trial. And they said they had played his video, I want to say, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a lot. It's a lot. We have over 9,000 people in here. Okay, can y'all hit the like button, please? It got 1,800 likes. Can we get more likes on the stream, please? Thank y'all for joining me today. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats here. Uncle Bad Touch sent $20, says, love you, T, going to my other job tonight. All the victim blamers need to realize that moguls and media personalities have the funds to make disappear anybody. They have fixers and people that handle things behind the scenes. Exactly. You know, it's been a lot of people having things to say, dismissing it, saying, well, she liked it, this and that. But yeah, a lot of these people are very powerful, you know, especially Diddy. He had the power to, you know, make things disappear. I mean, hell, it's being alleged that he had something to do with Tupac's killing. We're waiting to see what Keefe D ends up spilling, you know. So, yeah, I don't doubt for a moment that she was probably really scared that he might hurt her family, you know, her parents and stuff like that. I don't doubt that for a moment. Let's see here. V Green sent $4.99, says it came out Jonathan Odie was paid off by Diddy to say that he was lying. Wow. Yeah, I can believe that, but he was too detailed. And then you notice he didn't call him Diddy, he called him Sean. That says a lot. Because, again, all of us know him as Diddy. If I was to meet him, I'd call him Diddy or Puffy. I wouldn't think to just call him Sean. So the fact that he was calling him Sean tells me that there was definitely a personal relationship. So, yeah, it's a mess. Oh, yeah, Biggie, too. We can't forget Biggie. I definitely think he could have been behind that as well. Because even Biggie's mom was kind of hinting at it, and then she died, unfortunately, a few months ago. Let's see here. Jason, $2, says, Diddy is allegedly a receiver also. I don't doubt it. He looks like he takes it from both ends. Look at his mouth. He got that, what that mouth do mouth. Can't close his teeth because there's always a dick in it. I'm sorry. Okay, let me be good. Let me stop. Oops. You need to sit there. Even the sketch artist got his mouth open. I said, how you in court, your mouth still open? That's why he can't close his mouth. There's always a damn pin in that bitch. Let me move on. What? Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can find this. There was a sketch of him. I was cracking up. Oh, he's a hot mess. See if I can find the sketch. It ain't on here. Because I swear them sketches are the worst. Okay, I found one of the sketches so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Hold on. Look, his mouth is still open, even in the sketch. Damn shame. And then you notice he got a head full of gray hair. He looks horrible. You can tell that damn adrenochrome done wore off. He's in court looking like Uncle Ben's and shit. Can't close his mouth. Just a mess. Let me see if I can find a picture of him. Here's how he look now. Ugh. Look at him. It looks a hot damn mess. How the mighty have fallen. Whole head gray. He's aged horribly while in prison. All that stress. That's a man who knows that his time has caught up to him. Looking like a bisexual Uncle Ben. He's a bisexual Uncle Ben! Hot mess. We're going to read some more super chats here. B-Rock said 199 says, the public quickly forgot Carisha was his hoe. I ain't forgot. Trust me. I have not forgot. Let's see here. Dom D said 1999 says, hey T, I believe Carisha was just a highly paid escort who was down with the freaky lifestyle until his image was tarnished. I definitely agree. She was down with all that mess because she can't rap. She has nothing to bring to the industry. She's absolutely nothing. At least JT is actually talented. She can actually write. She can actually rap. Carisha bought nothing but open legs and an open mouth. That's the only thing she had to offer the industry. Let's see here. Easy Peasy Sim 499 says, how do you paint Cassie as a damsel in distress, yet paint Carisha as a freak? What if Carisha was another Carisha co-conspirator in Diddy's antics? Because I can. Point blank, period. Carisha painted herself as a freak. I don't recall Cassie coming onto a public platform and telling young girls, you know what I'm saying, that she likes to get pissed on. I recall Cassie just sitting there quietly and eating her fucking food and getting her ass kicked behind the scenes. Unlike Carisha, she put herself out there as a freak. So I don't have to feel bad for her. She didn't feel bad for Cassie when she did her interview. Not one time did she even act like what happened to Cassie was a problem. As a woman, when you hear something like that, you should feel some type of empathy. Carisha didn't. So that's why I can paint her how I paint her. And if you don't like it, you can move around. It's that simple. And again, I've said before that Cassie has made mistakes as well. Did you miss the part where I just said, and I held her accountable for being the side chick when she knew that Diddy was with Kim Porter and she cheated on her boyfriend? Did you miss that? Did you just get here? Because I've held her accountable for the things that she's done too. The mistakes that she's made as well. Child. All right. Let's see here. S. Tierra sent 499 says, now wait a minute. How do we know Uncle Ben's was straight? We're not going to do that. Well, I always assumed that Uncle Ben's was dating Aunt Jemima. I always assumed them two was kicking it on the low. So, I don't know, but he looks like Uncle Ben's to me now. He looks a straight up mess. Let's see here. Richard Smith sent 199 says, Diddy boppers are real quiet lately. Yes, they are. They're very quiet, and then some of them are still defending him. There's a few defending him and making excuses and everything else. Again, could she have been super freaky at first and down for the threesomes? Absolutely. Wasn't Tiana Taylor? But just because somebody is super freaky in the beginning and willing to try something out to, to explore their fantasies with their man, once that person is saying, I no longer want to do this, I feel like I'm constantly giving myself up to you and I'm getting the short end of the stick, I don't want to do these freakouts anymore, then after that, it should have ceased. But he kept on. And if somebody is literally sitting there not only grooming this person from the time they're young, right? Because he got with her when she was 19. Carisha was grown when she got with Diddy. 28 is closer to 30. But not only did he groom her, but he was clearly pimping her out, doing all types of stuff with these escorts, having her have sex upwards of 4 hours to 4 days straight, making her do freak-offs on FaceTime. Like, at that point, to me, there's nothing freaky about that. That is a sex slave. That is some crazy deviant shit. Also, let's not forget, in Little Rod's lawsuit, He said that Carisha made her cousin zip down his pants and give him head. She participated in helping to have other people assaulted, allegedly. And all the stuff that's come out about Diddy, I haven't had anybody say anything about Cassie helping to get other people assaulted. So yeah, the whole situation is insane. It really is. Yeah, he forced her when he couldn't be there. He made her have freak-offs on FaceTime. There were times she said that he would bust and then still make her sit there and do stuff, and he would call her and make sure that she was still having sex. That is demonic. And then she talked about how he came by her house one time and he AR'd her. And then they put up text messages a few months later where, you know, they had reconciled and she had sex with them. And the prosecutor said, well, why would you have sex with him if he had just AR'd you a few months before? And she was like, you know, she really didn't know. It was confusion. One thing I will say about Cassie is that everything that she said, if you read the transcripts, she's owned up to it. She didn't make excuses. She didn't try to deflect. She's owned up to a lot of her mistakes. But that does not, you know what I'm saying, that doesn't like deny the fact that he put her through a lot of stuff and the shit that he did was just deviant. Point blank, period. Somebody called her the black Ghislaine Maxwell. Not Carisha being Ghislaine. Let's see here. Dream Doll sent $2 says, T, you clocked all his T. You read him. I needed to. Like, y'all go to Carisha's live stream with all that, you know, sympathy for Carisha. I have none for her. She's a weirdo. Let's see here. The Recessionist Sister sent 2 says, when Diddy played the Joker, that was his true nature. Absolutely. That Halloween costume was definitely him. And then, okay, so 24K sent $5, said, also on social media, Carisha threatened a chick that she'll force her to have sex with Diddy. Thank you. Thank you. I almost forgot about that. So while he's over here crying tattooed tears like I just pulled this out my ass about Carisha being a deviant and being just like the same deviant person she was around, Carisha literally took on the traits of Diddy. Let's not forget, she told Gina Hunn that she said, bitch, you're an eater, and I'll tell Diddy to make you eat my pussy. That is sexual assault. Who was the dumbass who sent that chat? Let me go back. I gotta scroll up a bit. Yeah, easy peasy. Your goofy ass. Did you forget that? That she literally went onto social media to brag and say that she will force Diddy to make another woman eat her coochie. So I guess that's okay with you too, huh? I mean, just, disgusting. Brown Sugar says, nah, Carisha did too much bragging on the internet to be a victim. She loves being a hoe. Love you, T. Exactly. Y'all remember she did that interview with Hollywood Unlocked talking about, I'm a whore. I'm a whore. But I guess I'm reaching for calling her what the fuck she called herself. A whore. Let me remind you, because we keep receipts around this bitch. All I had to do was put in Carisha, I'm a whore. Let me go ahead and remind Easy Peasy since he thinks I'm being mean to Carisha. This is what this whore calls herself. All I did was put in Carisha whore.
I'm really a whore. Like, I'm more like with a W. Like, I'm a whore.
But define that, though.
Like, I'm a whore.
What if Summer comes to you as pretty as she?
Okay. So like I said, we keep receipts around here. So you can cry and you can, send super chats trying to defend this whore, but I'm going to call her what she is. Madam Carisha. So I'm sorry, she's not a victim to me. She done did too much bragging, too much threatening, holding up the sign, and go Poppy, Poppy, Poppy. Meanwhile, he's on stage thanking Cassie and apologizing to Cassie about being in a dark place. And she's holding up signs, hyping up her man. So that's why I look at them differently. And anybody with common sense should look at that situation differently. So I hope that further explains to you. Imagine going to bat for somebody who calls themselves a whore proudly. Like, again, we live in a world where people just have no shame.
I'm really a whore. Like, I'm more like with a...
Yeah, we get it. We get it. It started playing again. We get it. You're a whore. We got it the first time, sis. Let me see here. XOXO Ivy says, Diddy had to feed the Hollywood demon that's assigned to him. Yes, definitely a bunch of sex rituals, for sure. Shy B sent $50. Thank you so much, Shy B. I appreciate you, love. Let's see here. Tranquil Living, since Diddy's been on one since making the band. Oh, even before then, since the 90s. He's been a terror. He's been a terror. Don't forget, he got them people killed in that gym. He's been doing stuff since the 90s. This man has been a terror. He allegedly also R'd somebody and assaulted them. Well, it wasn't, I don't think it was an R. He put hands on one of his ex-girlfriends at Howard University. That tea came out about a year ago. So that man been terrorizing folks for a long time. So he's getting his just dues. I don't feel bad for Diddy at all. You would never get me, who has sat here for the past 10 years on YouTube and called Diddy out, to ever feel bad for him. Absolutely not. You get what you put out there. Okay, so how long I've been out here? I've been out here for an hour. We got over 10,000 people in here. Go ahead and please hit the like button. All right, so let's talk about, I think I'm done with the Diddy stuff. Yeah, I got all the Diddy stuff taken care of. So let's talk about this whole situation that's going on with Meg Thee Stallion, Tory Lanes. This is really disturbing. So what supposedly happened is that they were saying that Tory Lanes, somebody posted on his Instagram page. I'm not sure. This is what I'm hearing. I don't follow him on Instagram, but they were saying that there was a post that was on social media. Y'all can verify this. That supposedly he was going to come out and he had new evidence in his case that he was not guilty of shooting Meg Thee Stallion. That supposedly was put out a few days ago. But again, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I tried to find it. Couldn't find it. But then shortly after that announcement, he was stabbed. He was stabbed in prison 14 times by some crazy Mexican man. Okay. Now, a lot of people are saying that this was a racial thing, you know, blacks versus Mexicans. But now we're finding out that that wasn't it. And it is being alleged that the reason why he was stabbed was because there's new evidence that has come out stating that Kelsey was the shooter and not Tory. And that supposedly, allegedly, Roc Nation paid money to get Tory Lanez stabbed and killed. So it is insane. It's in the Discord, Miss Sparkle. Y'all got to send me the link. I definitely think there's something fishy going on. Definitely. So let's go ahead and watch the video here. Where the news is talking about him getting stabbed.
Update his condition after he was stabbed in prison, and they claim they have new evidence in his case that could set him free.
You're watching Eyewitness News at 11:30. We're live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm Philip Palmer.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Rapper Tory Lanes recovering after being stabbed 14 times in prison. Today, his legal team provided an update on his condition, but they also talked about what they say is new evidence in the case that landed him behind bars.
Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in the newsroom and has details. Rob.
Yeah, stabbed on Monday. Today, Tory Lanes is in fair condition. His legal team taking advantage of the media's interest in the attack to make a new case for his release, saying a new witness has stepped up who can clear Lanes in that shooting case. Now, Lanes is currently serving a 10-year prison sentence in Tehachapi after shooting Megan Thee Stallion back in the feet back in 2020. Now, Lanes was jumped on Monday as representatives say he was stabbed 14 times, causing both his lungs to collapse, though he is now breathing on his own. Prison officials say his attacker was Santino Cassio, a man serving a life sentence for murder who also has a history of prison-time violence. The motive for the attack is unknown.
Before we move forward, let me tell you a little bit about this Santino guy, because I saw a lot of people, you know, I guess, you know, Meg Thee Stallion fans, whatever, you know, laughing and happy that, you know, Tory was stabbed and all that foolishness. But before y'all cheer on this Santino character, understand who the victim was, because the news didn't elaborate, okay? Santino's in there doing life in prison. Let me go back to his lovely mugshot. This guy here. He's in prison for life because at the age of 20, he was dating a 13-year-old. Okay, so let that sink in. His girlfriend was 13 years old when he was 20. He called her over to the house. They got into it. They got into some type of heated argument. He ended up shooting this 13-year-old baby in the face and killed her. Now, I don't know if the argument may have been she was telling him that she was pregnant. I don't know. Or she was upset about something. Either way, at 20, he had no business dating a 13-year-old. But he shot her in the face and killed her. So before you horse fans sit here and, oh, that's what Tory gets, and oh, well, understand who you're co-signing. This man killed a 13-year-old little girl, shot her in the face. And that is why he's doing life in prison. That is why he was the perfect person to allegedly hire, because he ain't getting out no time soon, to pull the hit that he pulled. I just wanted to let you guys know that in case you weren't aware of his backstory, since the news decided to omit that. Don't just call him a lifer. Explain why he's in there for life. He's a predator, a child molester, and a murderer.
The motive for the attack is unknown. Today, the legal team for the Canadian rapper held a news conference in downtown LA saying Lanes was railroaded by then DA George Cassie.
And a devil worshiper. Thank you. Somebody said, T, do you peep the pentagram on his neck? Exactly. Also a demonic devil worshiper. Perfect person to pull, as dark as this industry is.
Gascon, who had just survived a recall election. And they say a bodyguard for Megan Thee Stallion has come forward saying he heard her say that she fired the weapon, not Lanes.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun. She fired it 3 times. Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun.
Now, Lanes and his legal team are asking Governor Gavin Newsom to take a look at this new information and issue a full pardon. Meanwhile, Megan Thee Stallion sought and was granted a restraining order against Lanes, saying he's been harassing her by paying bloggers to spread misinformation about her. Reporting live in the newsroom, Rob Hayes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, let me come back on the screen here. So you guys just heard that. Okay, I think this is the other video. I got a few videos. So the bodyguard is talking in this one. So let's watch this video real quick as well.
Attack. His father and supporters gathered today to demand his release.
Former rapper was convicted of shooting Megan Thee Stallion. Fox 7's Christopher Hardo tells us about the claim of new evidence.
Bringing it to light now was made necessary by the events of this week.
Just days after rapper Tory Lanes, also known as Daystar Peterson, was attacked in prison, his attorneys are calling on Governor Newsom to pardon or commute his sentence, insisting they have new evidence Lanes didn't shoot superstar Megan Thee Stallion, but it was instead her former best friend, Cassie Harris. And they say Harris's one-time bodyguard, Bradley James, was spurred by conscience to come forward.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Miss Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody.
Walter Roberts says the statement aligns with another witness who saw 2 women fighting. Lanes is serving a 10-year sentence after being convicted of shooting Stallion in the Hollywood Hills back in 2020. The singer testified against Lane and in an op-ed wrote, quote, "Even as a victim, I have been met with skepticism and judgment. We didn't hear back from Stallion's attorney and couldn't reach Harris for comment." Lanes' lawyers say they've had the new evidence for months and were waiting on the appeals court to rule, but went public after he was stabbed in prison.
He was stabbed.
We're going to come back to the daddy in a moment. So, now you guys know I covered the case. You know, the whole case just got on my damn nerves. It was so convoluted after a while, I just ended up having to check out. I think there might be some new evidence. The case never sat well with me. The entire story, everything never sat well with me. You know, the fact that even like them saying that, okay, she was shot in the foot and everything else. It was just so many holes in this story, literally. And then the fact that the industry was so divided, and it's almost like Kelsey would have more of a motive to do it, because remember, Kelsey claimed she was going to get up there and tell her truth and everything else, and all she did was just cause an even bigger mess. But my issue with this whole situation is, why is the bodyguard now speaking? How do you sit there and watch somebody get charged, get all that time, and now your conscience is hitting you? The bodyguard should have been said something. That's the part that's kind of like, I don't know. But I do feel like somebody's trying to kill Tory Lanes. For him to have been stabbed 14 times, they were trying to kill him. That wasn't just like, you know, a 1-2, we're fighting in the field, you know, out in the yard. That was a hit. And then they were trying to say initially that the reason why he did it is because Tory Lanes was disrespecting the man's wife. That doesn't make any sense. And who the fuck would marry him? Why does he have a wife? You killed a 13-year-old. The wife needs her ass whooped. You're going to marry somebody who killed a 13-year-old child is insane to me. So something does not feel right with this case. It never has to me. The case never made sense. And Meg can, you know, act like a super victim. Meg did a lot of lying too, and I've always called that out, and y'all have attacked me for it. I don't care. Meg also helped to make this case convoluted herself. Even lying to Gayle King. To me, it's just a bunch of lies involved with this case. Nothing never made sense from day one. But let's also remember, outside of Megan and her weird stories, Kelsey and her bullshit weird stories, Tory Lanez was also a felon. He was a felon in the vicinity or possession of a gun. Where is 650I? She did lie. She got up and told Gayle King that she never slept with Tory Lanez. We all knew it, that she had slept with Tory. We all knew that was the fight between her and Kelsey. And then she had to then admit in court that she did sleep with Tory Lanez. Don't gaslight me. There were certain things that she did lie about that she then later on had to admit. So we're not going to do that. Just like there are things that Kelsey said and then acted just stupid and oblivious once she got up on the stand. Now, as far as him, people also need to understand that Tory also put himself in that situation. Why? Because Tory was already a felon. And there was a gun found on scene. And as a felon, you cannot be around guns. You can't own a gun. You can't be driving around in a car with somebody with a gun. So he didn't just get the time simply because of Megan. Because I see a lot of people just saying, you know, free him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do anything outside. Let's remove the whole drama with Megan out of it. Because a lot of people are just making it simply about Megan and the shooting. I have my issues with Megan. I have my issues with Kelsey. But outside of that, Tory was a felon. There was a gun in that situation. Shots were fired. As a felon, you need to move smart. And let's also not forget, he's from Canada. So that was even worse. You're not even an American citizen and you out here collecting felonies and being around guns. So that's also part of why he got his sentence. And a lot of people seem to have forgotten that. It's not just solely based on the whole Meg Thee Stallion situation. He's been making poor choices over the past few years. Because had he been making better choices and walking in his faith, like he proclaims to now, and his father proclaims, he wouldn't have all these felonies. I'm just saying. So y'all can get mad all y'all want to, but I'm going to be fair. So now, let me see here. Let me see. Shout out to Moneybag Mo. I see you, sis. She's in the building. I got the gavel. Moneybag Mo got me this. I got my official gavel. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the $499.99, sis. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for always coming through and supporting my channel. Appreciate you. And thank you once again for the gavel. You know what I'm saying? We're doing big things over here, honey. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video of Tory's dad. He did an interview with ABC and he's talking about everything, you know, with his son. And at the end of the day, that is his child. He's going to defend his child. And he feels like there was a setup. I do feel like there's something at play. Him being a felon, all of that stuff aside, I feel like somebody is trying to take Tory out. I really do. So we're going to go ahead and watch what his daddy got to say. Let me pull this up real quick here. Okay. I think it's this video here. Okay, we're going to watch this here.
As the father of Tory Lanes, but his family affectionately knows him as Daystar Peterson. This may seem not even to matter today, but it does to me. The reason why he bears the name Daystar is because I was scheduled to speak in a conference in Washington, D.C. back in the early 2000s. Back in the late 90s. My wife and I stayed in a hotel across the river in Northern Virginia. I was up praying before that conference that I was supposed to speak at that evening. As I paced back and forth in my hotel suite praying, I began to quote the scripture from 2 Peter chapter 1, and it states, "For you would do well to take heed as unto a light shining in a dark place, until the day dawns and the day star arises in your heart." I didn't know whether it was a boy or girl in my late wife's womb, but I heard the Holy Spirit said to me, "That is the name of your child." That's why he bears that name today. Now we're standing in the United States of America, land of the free and the home of the brave. I have watched from afar, being a Canadian. I have watched as presidents, innumerable, and other officials place their hand on the Bible and swear a sacred oath to uphold justice, to uphold truth, because that's what justice demands. So before I go any further, based on a courtroom that I stood in 508 days or so ago and heard my son convicted, is a court in the federal reality of things that also holds the Bible higher than judges. And so I'm going to pray a very short prayer before I get started here today. And I'm going to pray that in the spirit of when Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, stood before Pontius Pilate. Pontius said, "Why do you not speak? Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you or to let you go free?" It was only one of the times that Jesus ever spoke. He said, "You would not have power over me unless God Almighty gave it to you today. And I have come to bear witness of the truth." Upon which Pontius Pilate replied, "What is truth?" That question was never answered in Pilate's judgment hall. But I answer it for you today because Jesus Christ himself told us what the truth was. Truth is not a philosophy, it's not an ideology, it's not a doctrine, and it certainly is not a religion. Truth is a person. His name is Jesus Christ, who said, "I am the way, the truth that leads you to life." Father, upon the basis of your word today that this nation was founded upon,
How long is this interview?
I ask,
20 minutes?
I've been asked to by my son, Daystar, aka Tory Lanes. Number one, Daystar does not have a drinking problem. He does not have a drinking problem, and that was not the reason.
Okay, let me just come in real quick. I had to fast forward. It was too much. I love a good prayer session, but sir, get to the point. Now, he's saying that Daystar doesn't have a drinking problem, but, we were all there during quarantine radio. The way him and Meg was drinking and, kicking stuff back, I would say that they all have a bit of a drinking problem. Him, Meg, and Kelsey. They were all drunk that night. Of course, he doesn't have one now. He's in prison unless he's drinking hooch. But at some point he was. When he was doing quarantine radio, he was always drunk and promoting liquor and telling folks to, take shots and all that stuff. So it's very interesting that he's trying to put that out there that he doesn't have a drinking problem. I think they were all alcoholics. I've said this from day one. They were all some damn drunks who couldn't handle their liquor. Every last one of them. Let's continue.
The reason why this situation happened. He was not out on the yard as it was about 6:30 in the morning and cells were just opened for them to be able to go out to breakfast. On the Thursday prior to this incident, I was called by him and I was told of the impending threat. And my family and I huddled and did what we always do. We prayed. We get together every single day and we pray. Sometimes it is twice per day. Wherever we are in the world, at a certain time, we're on our phones and we are praying. We pray for him. We pray for you. Because our mandate is not about violence. We're not here for vendetta. We're not here for any of those things. My son, as I stood with him in the hospital room on the first day, my wife being present, said, "Dad, I'm not holding any animosity against this guy. I don't want to take any action against him. Whatever the system does, the system does." But that is his stance, and that is our stance. Might I go a little bit further?
Objection. He can't do anything. The man is serving life in prison. I mean, that's not like a moral high. I don't want to do anything. I don't want, any circumstances, whatever the system does, I have forgiveness in my heart. He's a lifer. What are you talking about? It doesn't matter what the system does to him. He's already serving life for killing a child. So, I mean, this is not, I don't even know why he's saying that. Like, okay, there's nothing they can do. I mean, unless they give him the death penalty for stabbing Tory. Other than that, he's just going to go back to his jail cell.
Because this will not be the first time I've said this publicly. I bear Megan Thee Stallion no ought at all. In fact, we have prayed for her on many occasions in our times of prayer. So this monster that Alex Spiro tried to create, and when I stood in the courtroom on that day and heard a corrupt prosecutor dismiss the fact that so many people, it was overwhelming the amount of people that sent letters to their office and were called to testify before the courts as they were considering sentence, which had already been decided, and the judge blatantly showed on that day that it really didn't matter what anybody said. It was supposed to be a forum in which it would be decided based on all the extenuating circumstances, etc. But it had already been decided behind closed doors. It's so funny that there is indeed a woman who has made it her life's mission to be the whip in the press or on the vlogs. I'm not even going to call her name right now, but those who know. Everything that has to do with Tory Lanes, I believe that she is in some way compensated to spread these narratives. And so before the sentence was read in court, she already knew. That's really interesting to me. She already knew because she had discussed it with others, not knowing that it would come back to us. God is my witness. So moving right along, Daystar did not suffer superficial wounds. He was stabbed 14 times, 5 times in his back, 1 under his left cheekbone. In fact, his jaw was open. He was stabbed twice in the back of his head, and the rest in his torso, arms, and in his chest. It may seem sensational, but thankfully, like Dr. King, it was close to his heart but did not penetrate. After that, he was being rushed to a facility nearby in a vehicle in which he said, and I quote, "Dad, I thought it was my last. And having made my peace with God, I said, okay, God, is this how it's supposed to end for me?" But God said no. God told him, "Do not give up," in the car, upon which he turned to the attending officers and he said, "You must get me to wherever is the closest place that I can get to. I'm bleeding out here. He didn't even know his lungs had collapsed. All he knows is that he couldn't breathe. He could hardly speak. Upon which the officer turned around and looked at him and said, "Nah, we got to take him. He has to be airlifted." And thankfully, to God be the glory, he was airlifted. I want to report to you that I am very thankful to all of the attending nurses, doctors in that facility. They have done an amazing job in their professional capacity. I would also like to publicly say thank you to the COs, the correctional officers that we have seen around him. In fact, these guys have been nothing but kind to him. The system is one thing, but guess what? There are people who work in the system, and some of them still have hearts. Some of them still have a conscience. So as I'm winding down today, I would like to report to all of you who care about Daystar Peterson the artist Tory Lanes around the world. The reports in the hospital is that he is doing remarkably well. I was told yesterday, because they had already taken out the tubes that were draining, for your name's sake. And even if I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Okay, all right. All right. That's enough. Rock Nation shall crumble! He would say some real shit, though. He's preaching. He's a preacher and stuff like that. That's his son. And, I'm happy that Tory survived. That is very unfortunate that, he was stabbed and everything. I just didn't think he was going to talk that long. Like, come on now. You about to take over my show. I was waiting for him to get to the point. I mean, he was talking for 40 days and 40 nights. In the name of Jesus. Okay, we see you, sir. Hallelujah. Like, come on. Like, damn. Then he said, though that I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we're not going to do that. Like, now he's going into a whole nother spiel. But I do feel like Rock Nation possibly could be behind this. I just find everything with this whole case just weird. It just really never made sense, and then he's stabbed in prison 14 times. But like I said, why didn't this bodyguard come out sooner? Why sit on that type of information when this person is looking at real time? But even if the bodyguard would have came out and said something, again, he's a felon. There's a gun in the vicinity. He may have still gotten some time, maybe not 10 years, but he may have still gotten something. But I'm just like, why does it take for, it's been over, this shit's been going on since 2020. 5 years. This has been going on. And it's like, for you to now come out in 2025 is insane. But we're going to have to wait to see how it plays out. But that's a lot. That's a lot. For him to survive a hit like that 14 times, that's a lot. I wish him a speedy recovery. But that's who. He better thank his lucky stars, no pun intended, that he survived that. Daddy said he had a collapsed lung and everything else. So this was very serious. Very serious. Yeah, it's a mess. JC said, who shot Megan? They're saying that Kelsey shot Megan in a fit of rage. So, but my thing though, like I said, what doesn't make sense is if Kelsey shot Megan, then why wouldn't Megan be trying to get Kelsey in trouble as well? Why would, unless she didn't see who actually did it? Because I'm sorry, everybody's going down. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. Like, why protect any of them? You already fucked her man. Y'all are not cool. So what is there to protect? That's what doesn't make sense to me. If Kelsey did it, why even protect her? Why not say they both did it? So, like I said, it's weird. The whole case is just weird. We may never really know the truth. But people are going to have their side. You got folks who stand with Tory, the Free Tory movement. You got folks who stand with Megan, you know what I'm saying? Her crew. And I don't think anybody stands with Kelsey. I think Kelsey just turned out to be a weirdo who wasted my fucking time. I don't trust her ass at all. I know she ain't got no damn fandom. So let me see here. Let me go ahead and read a few more super chats. Lay Khalifa sent 10 says, I bet you this is what Nicki was referring to in her diss track. You talking about that, what was that? The Goodfoot or Bigfoot diss track? I remember that. Let's see here. Brina Josie Senpai says, if he was such groundbreaking evidence, why didn't he submit it instead of holding a press conference? He has yet to submit it. Come on, man. I think they're working on submitting it. I think probably they were in the middle of that, but then he got stabbed. So like the news was saying, they're using this opportunity to bring more eyes on the case. You can't let, you can't let this go to waste. A good crisis. You can't let a good crisis go to waste. So I think they're probably getting ready to submit everything, but they're letting the world know, now that everybody's focused on Tory, what's going on. Let's see here. WR Senten says, love you, T. Love you, too. Says, I can see why people believe Tory was stabbed because of new evidence. Kelsey's husband and father did associate with Jay Prince and Carl. We all know about Jay Prince. He's connected. Yeah. Like I said, I feel like something with this case has never sat well with me. You know, we've covered a lot of celebrity cases. We've seen a lot of things where, like, even like the whole Johnny Depp case, right? Even with that, you felt like there was some type of closure. O.J. Simpson, you felt like there was some type of closure. Even if you didn't agree with the, you know, with the jury's verdict, there was some type of closure. With this situation, it was more questions than answers. It's insane. Everybody's under oath. And then you got this Yahoo Kelsey just pleading the fifth. Just plead the fifth. I don't know. And then Tory never took the stand. So, I don't know. It's just crazy. Let's see here. Belly B says, this is exactly why lifers need to be separated. I never thought about that. Because when you're in prison with everybody. Somebody could be in there for just a year or two. Then you got somebody who knows they're never getting out. Wow. But then would there be like enough people doing life to maybe create their own prison for them? I never really thought about that. Like, let's say they just have a specific prison for lifers. So that way if they do stupid shit, they're doing stupid shit to each other. Instead of messing with folks who might only have 1 to 2, 3 years. Because a lot of people can go in only looking at a 2-year sentence, but then get a bunch of time tacked on because they're getting into fights or they're getting into altercations. And then next thing you know it, they're in there for, 5-6 years because they done got into it with a lifer. Somebody said Tory was on a level 3 yard. Level 4 is mostly lifers. So when y'all say level 4, because I don't know anything about prison. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I've never, I don't know nothing. I'm not about that life. So when y'all sit and y'all say level 4, does that mean that they're on the 4th floor of the prison? Or does that mean like, oh, if you're level 4, you can go out in the yard from like 1 to 2? This is a real question because I don't know how it works. So it's like all the level 4 people go out on the yard at a certain time? Or is it like you're on the 4th floor? Because I don't even know how tall the prison is. I don't know if it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how many floors. So Eva says, yes, there's plenty of lifers. Wow. Huh. Okay, so it equals the danger or threat level. Level 3 is supposed to be the chill spot. People going home and it's more laid back. Okay. Well, shout out to all my little ex-prisoners spilling the tea. Thank you. Level 1 is safe. Okay, so the levels are the crime. So level 4 is the most dangerous. So level 4, they have their own yard. Oh, okay. So if Tory was a level 3 and this guy is a level 4, how do they end up in the same vicinity? Because the daddy said that he didn't get stabbed in the yard. So I'm assuming that it happened in the prison, but I could be wrong. Level 1 is minimum security. I'm learning all types of new shit. Like I said, shout out to all of us who ain't never been to jail and prison. Like, y'all ain't gonna shame me because I ain't got no fucking mugshot. God is good, honey. That's all I'm gonna say. No judgments, but also let's not judge those who don't understand prison life. That's not my life, so I don't know. Y'all are teaching me something new. Oh, Tory was in a 50-50 yard mixed with PC. Oh, okay. Okay. Was that his cellmate? I don't think he would be in a cell with somebody who's doing life. Do they put people who are doing life with people who only got a few years? Don't put me in a cell with no damn lifer. Fuck that shit. We go to officer, move me somewhere else. Because if they're doing life, they could do all types of stuff to me because there's no consequences. They're doing life. Objection. He got to get the fuck about this cell. Shit. I don't even want people in my cell that are doing under a year. I would not want to be in a cell with no damn lifer. So Nash says sometimes prison life was never nice. Yep, they do. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. So they can put you, so you can go to prison right now and only maybe get 3 years and they'll put you in there with somebody who has life. Oh, hell no. Bitch. Objection. Move me elsewhere. Okay? Oh, y'all are teaching me so much stuff right now. That is crazy. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I'd be frightened, child. This is why nope. That's why I just be in the house. I go out every now and then, but I just be trying to mind my little business, child. That's crazy. I done seen enough, watching them lockup shows. I don't know like the whole intricacies, but when you see them lockup shows and stuff, they be in there raping people and all types of crazy stuff. So in Cali they do. Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. He shouldn't have been anywhere near a lifer. I think they should take all the lifers and put them in lifer prisons. That would be my solution if I was like, I don't know, if I had any type of power. Put all the lifers together so they can I don't know, share stories and fuck with each other. Like, don't, Don't mess up other people's lives who are only in there for a short amount of time. Don't try and turn me into a lifer because I gotta, retaliate on you. So this is really interesting. Speedy recovery to Tory. God was definitely on his side that he survived that because that ain't no joke. You got people who have been shot once, stabbed once, and they die. He was stabbed 14 times. Man. So let me read these last few super chats. We're going to talk about the Halle Bailey situation. Let's see here. Belly B says, I'm not a fan of either of them, but I'm not about to feel bad for a grown man who didn't do shit to help himself. No one stopped Tory from speaking. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, he never took the stand. I mean, I guess, he doesn't have to, but I'm sorry if I didn't do it. I'm going to be pleading my innocence. I ain't shoot her ass. Next. Shit. And bring some evidence. Because they said that the lawyer, because his initial lawyer quit, then they brought in a new lawyer and she wasn't shit. So, or he, you know what I'm saying? Because they were doing a lot of complaining about the new lawyer. But at that point, I think he should have got up and said something. I really agree with that. Nell's World sent $4.99 says, I still don't believe that's why. Why would he pay Kelsey off? And he should have been said something. I don't believe it, period. Will Meg ever get empathy? Yeah. I don't think he paid her off. I just feel like the whole case just, from the time it just went down, the whole thing just never made sense. It just never made sense. Let's see here. The astrology villain of the Zodiac says, I know secret society infighting when I see it. I see a lot of infighting happening. That's funny. You got Rock Nation and then you got Bad Boy. A lot of secret society stuff. Janae sent $5 says, didn't Tory pay for Kelsey's lawyers? Why would he do that if she shot Meg? Yeah. Like I said, it's more questions than answers in this case. Way more questions than answers. Let's see, it just refreshed. Kimon Beard sent 5 says, Tory's father has a shaved head like me, but somehow has a part in it that doesn't sit right with my spirit. Y'all are Y'all are messy. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see here. Black Love said 999 says, I listen to a lot of prison stories thanks to YouTube, but being poked 14 times, not far-fetched, especially if he was chased. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think 14 times is far-fetched at all. Because usually, like with them prison shanks, they try to stab each other really quickly. So you're just, stabbing. So I believe that. I can definitely see him being stabbed a bunch of times. But I'm just not going to cheer on the person who did it. I saw a lot of people like cheering him on. I'm like, even if you don't like Tory, you need to research who you're co-signing. Because what he did to me is very disturbing. So I'm not co-signing that. He literally took a 13-year-old's life. Absolutely not. But thank you for the super chat, sis. Cass sent $4.99 says, I'm not saying he deserved it, but I'd be shocked if Tory's mouth got him in trouble in prison. Yeah, they were saying that allegedly he dissed the man's wife. But my question is, who is the dumbass wife? Who is the dummy who married him and became a wife? Why would you marry somebody in prison who's in prison for pedo allegations? Well, no, not even pedo, because he was having sex with her, but who killed a 13-year-old. Like, we can't be that desperate as women. Like, I get it. There's a short supply of men out here, good men, but there's no way in hell I'm going to entertain somebody in prison, and especially somebody in prison for that. It's one thing if he's in there for like a white collar crime or even like a, I don't know, a bank robbery or selling drugs. I get it. People, that whole show Love After Lockup. I don't watch it, but I know that's a thing. But for killing a 13-year-old, I'm sorry. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's see here. Emotional balance coach Sam 5 says, Tory selling music the way he did changed the game. He had to be stopped before the others adopted his blueprint. Yeah, I heard about that. Let's see here. Brian says Wendy Ortiz is getting attacked by Aiden Ross fans for having the same opinion on Tory Lanes. That's interesting. Wendy Ortiz is that girl that DDG be with. I know about Wendy Ortiz because Emily be following her. For having the same opinion on Tory Lanes. I'm going to have to look into that. Thank you for the super chat. Christina Parker sent 1999 says, there are prison levels 1 through 5. Level 2 prisons are low security and the inmates walk around the staff freely. Level 5 prison is maximum security and they will put someone with 5 years with lifers. Oh, wow. Thank you, Christina, for breaking that down. Okay, so level 5 is maximum security. Okay. So Tory Lanez was just like in a regular level, right? Like low security prison. He wasn't in a maximum security. Okay. Crystal Washington, Sim 499 says, no such thing as prisoner rights. That's legal slavery per the 13th Amendment for the business that is America. Yeah, I get that they don't have rights and they have to, work for like little to no wages. But that's messed up though, to put somebody in who has life with somebody who's doing less than 5 years. That is like, I don't know. I would freak out. But I guess they don't care because you're in prison, right? If that's the case, you shouldn't be in prison. Then you don't have nothing to worry about. So I guess that's the rebuttal. I get it. But I still feel bad because I don't think that lifers should be in prison cells with people doing less time. But that's just my opinion. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and get on with the whole DDG. He's responded and his mom has responded. Like I said, it's a lot of legal stuff going on with these celebrities this week. A lot of legal stuff. So you guys know I did the video on Halle basically coming out and filing a restraining order. It was granted by the judge. And she had pictures. She posted receipts of, you know, DDG putting hands on her, the chipped tooth and all that stuff. But of course, a lot of his fans and a lot of his friends are coming out and defending him. So we're going to watch their defense as well. There's also a huge thread on Twitter basically saying that Halle is not innocent, that she was also putting hands on DDG. So we're going to go ahead and see all of this stuff here. So let's start with the mama. Again, I don't know much about DDG. I've never really watched his YouTube, his vlogs. I only know what I've seen on the Shade Room, stuff like that. Because I saw some girls were leaving comments on my video saying that his mom is an enabler and she makes excuses for DDG and his brother. So I didn't even know DDG had a brother. So let's go ahead and look at this real quick. Give me just a second. Okay. So his mom, her name is Tanya. She says, I usually don't comment or say anything on this internet, even with all the negativity, the lies, and hatred towards mine. However, these accusations have made me realize that I have been quiet too long. So basically trying to take up for her son. And then DDG came on and he basically says, I'm chilling, by the way. I have no worries. Streaming later on, no days off. So that's what he had to say. So let's go over to Twitter. So these were some of his videos here. Let me see. See it close up. Let me go ahead and mute this. Hold on. Okay.
I don't really know where to go with this live, to be honest. You know, it's just a lot of, just a bunch of nosy people in here that don't give a fuck about me. They just see what they can, just being nosy. So I just don't want to give nobody no satisfaction or nothing, you know. I don't really know where to go with this.
Imagine being a streamer who all he does is crave attention, who's now crying about nosy people coming to his stream. Isn't this what you do for a living? You stream. We're here because there's all types of allegations and you said that you were going to address it. So then when the people show up, now they're caught nosy and accused of not caring. No, you don't get to play victim, sir. This is what you do for a living. So you're damn right we're nosy. We're here to find the tea. We want to hear your side. So miss me with the tiny violins. Here's the other video too. I mean, what's up with the sad music? He's not even saying anything. So they're saying here, DDG broke down and ended the stream with 80,000 live viewers watching after trying to do a giveaway, and fans are now questioning the validity of the allegations Halle made against DDG. Sad face emoji with a broken heart. Again, you know, looking like a victim. Let me see. Okay, so this is the thread here. This thread was very interesting. So, let me see if I need to, nope. So basically, they're taking up for DDG, and they're saying that the chipped tooth Halle Bailey is showing off isn't even hers, it's her sister's. And I guess
to drive you a little, drive the boat that chipped tooth is to drive you a little, drive the boat that chipped tooth is to drive.
So they're saying that it's her sister Chloe's tooth and not Holly's. Okay. Then they go on to say this. The texts that Halle sent as proof from DDG are clearly fake and photoshopped. How you getting texts from the future? And so they're pointing out the dates. You're asking if it's possible for an iMessage to display tomorrow 2027 above the message that also shows a time and date of Sunday at 2:55. The short answer is not naturally within iMessage app. Here's why. That looks inconsistent or potentially edited. Conflicting timestamps. Geographical inconsistencies.
You have upgraded yourself and bossed up. You one of the hottest streamers out here. She ain't like that shit. She went for the juggler this time. She went for the juggler. Whatever sponsorships, deals, you were seen pretty brand friendly. Gone and lost to the days where, DG got arrested a couple times for some bullshit. You've been pretty good recently. You know what jacket she just threw on your? You have upgraded yourself.
So that was DJ Academics. They're saying she claims this happened in January. Why didn't she report it then? Why did she wait over 100 days to file a report? And as DJ Academics points out, right when DDG's career was taking off and he was gaining popularity. Again, he's only gaining popularity because of this baby here. He knocked up a Disney princess. He was able to ride her fame and her coattails, even though he had his own little thing going on, don't get me wrong. He has a big following on YouTube, but he definitely wasn't mainstream. Him getting with her really elevated his star. Because most of the people who knew DDG were, a niche audience, people who like streaming. But when he got with America's Disney princess, he then became more mainstream. And then when they got that baby, he was able to use that baby to also change his image and become more, friendly, advertiser friendly. So let's not act like he wasn't plotting as well. So let's see here. When he supposedly sent this text, DDG was on live stream. Halle Bailey has some explaining to do. Ooh, this person is going hard for DDG, honey. So they're saying here he was on live, and it doesn't match this timestamp. And also this timestamp is looks like it's a military time, so I guess. Then they're saying DJ Academics literally predicted this before it happened. So let's listen to this.
I see you trying to defend her. That's a good move, by the way, but let me tell you what happens next. If she can't paint you as a deadbeat dad, which you're not, I'm going to warn you this. The next step is for her to say you were abusive. I want to be very clear. And she just tried, why is my baby dad doing that? And I don't approve of it. And nobody bit. And unless you about to get back with her and go into whatever regime she wants you to get down with, her next attempt will not be as fluky. Women like this don't stop. You've dodged this one, but you got to wait for the bigger one she about to do. Somebody said, Halle not motherfucking evil? You fucking stupid as hell, nigga. She would have never posted this thing if she wasn't on that type of topic. Women are only loyal to their emotions. I see you trying to defend her. That's a good move, by the way, but let me tell you what.
Okay, so again, typical DJ Academics. He's gonna, predict what happens because he's been in a bunch of fucked up situations. And remember, I showed this video a while back of Blueface. So this person says one of the people who tried to warn DDG long time ago was none other than Blueface, who literally has the worst baby mama of all time. So let's play this.
I don't play me. Want to hear that fundamental ass response? Imagine if you have like a BM, nigga, and you gotta pay her rent, nigga. She taking niggas over there. You gonna be cool with it? No. You gonna stop paying the rent? Duh, nigga. What the fuck you mean? What about the kid? The kid gonna be homeless. No, the kid not. See, I don't plan on having a baby mama. What you mean? You don't never. I'm not gonna have no baby mama, bro. Whoever I have a kid with, she's with me for life. It ain't. Yeah. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody. It all starts like that. That's exactly how you think, nigga. Yeah, I'm not. Sometimes the kid break y'all up, bro. Sometimes the kid be the reason y'all break up. What he be doing? He be telling on you and shit. Nah, I'm cool with my baby mama.
I'm saying like, what the kid? How the kid gonna break me?
Still doing another part, huh? Nah, the kid gonna break you up because her emotions gonna get to rising. She might feel like she got something to hold against you, so she gonna be acting different. She might be using the kid to boss you around, you know, to keep tabs on you. And then that might cause you to be so stressed out, like, damn, bitch, she like, nope, this, that, you know?
Do it really matter? Do it really matter?
Nah, females are, they petty, bro.
It is. I noticed that all girls is
yeah,
like,
they all like that. It's not just one or two, all of them are petty. So the second y'all get into y'all little situation, y'all little Twitter beef.
Yeah. I don't do that no more.
Yeah, then the kid, it's like, oh, shit.
It's over. I just know.
Okay. Meanwhile, Blueface is doing 4 years in prison. Next, you know, and he caused a lot of his own turmoil because, again, let's not forget, Krishan was pregnant not once, but several times. So if he was that worried and didn't like his baby mama, why keep knocking her up? Because remember, she had a bunch of abortions before she finally gave birth to the little one that they have now. So when she aborted the first, second, and third time, why did he not strap up? Why did he keep impregnating her? So Blueface is a clown. So then they go on to say another person that predicted that Halle Bailey would do something like this was none other than Myron. But he doesn't believe the allegations and shows support to DDG. So let's hear what Myron, I think he's from Fresh and Fit, right? Let's hear what he has to say. So this is a thread of people basically taking up for DDG.
Talked about DDG. Look, I make fun of DDG all the time. I think he's stupid. I think he's low IQ, but I don't think he's over here beating on his chick. And if he is, that's some pussy shit.
Yeah, he doesn't give
vibes. But he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't give me woman beater vibes, bro. Be honest with y'all, he does not give me woman beater vibes. And here's the thing: if he ain't smacked the shit out of Ruby Rose, I doubt that he would smack the shit out of that chick. Because Ruby Rose is literally a thought, big thought. And someone, I think Zia told a story one time of how she like yanked this chain, and like it ripped, and he didn't hit her after that. He wanted to, but he didn't. So if he could restrain himself there, DDG doesn't strike me as a woman beater. So, yeah, bro. I think she's probably making this shit up to take the kid from him. That's what I think, chat. Because I know that they've had this custody battle. She don't want him having a son like that. She's using that shit as leverage. So, despite the fact that I have my disagreements with DDG, I don't think he's a woman beater, and I hope he gets access to his son. You know what I mean? Because you need your son at the end of the day. And I'm not gonna fucking, kick him while he's down on this bullshit. Because I think that chick is lying, bro. Fuck that shit. Me and DDG can have our problems, but I hope he has access. He gets a son. I don't wish that upon any man.
Okay, so let me say this. From what I've heard, Ruby Rose, who he's calling a thought, I think she's like an IG model, maybe a rapper, who knows. But at one point she was dating DDG, and she came out and said that DDG was abusing her and putting hands on her. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Because they said that she had bruises on her arms from DDG. Okay, fans are revisiting her past abuse. Let's look at this real quick. Because I'm also confused as to why it's okay for a thought to get her ass whooped, but not the good girl. Like, oh, he can restrain himself from putting hands on a thought. You don't put your hands on any woman. Just like no woman should put her hands on a man. How about everybody keep their hands to themselves? It's very interesting how when it's a thought, it's almost like, oh, it's okay. She's, fuck the fact that she's a human being, that she's somebody's, child. She's a thought. Doesn't matter if he put hands on her. But Chloe's not a thought. She's a good girl. So why would he put hands on her? Huh. Interesting logic. So let's see here. I found... Hold on. Yeah. Let's go ahead and go through this. Give me just a second. Okay. Ruby Rose fans revisit her DDG abuse allegations amid Halle Bailey's restraining order. So, proof that DDG was putting hands on Ruby Rose. And it looks like Ruby Rose talked about it, but I think Halle, again, that's why I always say there's really no sisterhood. Too many times females feel like, well, it ain't happening to me. Or, what did you do? Or I'm a better woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm prettier, whatever, good box, good head, whatever. And they never sympathize with the past girlfriends because they think somehow they're here because now, they're in the honeymoon stage and they're doing good together. But it looks like she was talking about this prior. And people were bringing this up to Halle and she was ignoring it. So the warning signs were there. Yeah, exactly, Blue Jay. She thought she was different. So let's go through this here. So this person says, all I'm going to say is Ruby Rose tried to tell you about DDG and y'all bashed that girl and literally ignored her situation because of her brand. Ooh, wow. Person says the only reason why people didn't want to believe Ruby is because they view her as promiscuous. Simple as that. Exactly. Remember, Myron just called her a thought. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else says, now that we've got more insight into Halle and DDG's troublesome abusive relationship, I hope Halle will make amends with Ruby Rose. Remember when they insulted Ruby when she exposed DDG for texting her, although they knew it was one of their messy couple shenanigans. Somebody says Ruby's friend posted this in 2023. This is when Halle was responding back to Ruby Rose blasting DDG for, DMing her. And Halle says, the devil is working. LOL. Please don't feed into the lies, especially from third parties. Stay blessed, everyone. So then Ruby Rose's friend says, your man was drooling over my sister at Young Miami's party, not even trying to hide it. Everyone's solid, LOL, and even had his bodyguards come up to pass along a message. Give me a break. You were in Ruby's close friends while she was with DDG, seeing firsthand how he was doing her, and you still wanted to give him a try. Don't be embarrassing. Oh, wow. So this is my first time seeing this. So they're saying that at some point, Halle was in the friend group. So she watched some of what DDG, was doing to Ruby, but thought it wasn't going to happen to her. So that's sad. Is this how? Oh shit. Okay, so this is Ruby's arm picture. Wow. Ruby previously shared a photo of her bruises allegedly caused by DDG back in 2021. This is very similar. I almost thought it was Halle at first. Very similar to Halle. So it seems like he's the type that likes to grab females by their arms because it's not as obvious. Whereas if he would have punched her in the face or, hit her in the nose or something, that's more obvious. Wow. Somebody else says, y'all was calling Ruby Rose everything but a child of God when she spoke about her experience with DDG. Now y'all are turning around and sympathizing with Halle, as you should, but it begs the question, why were y'all so quick to discount Ruby's experience? Exactly. Ruby Rose said that she used to post about the abuse she experienced from DDG on her close friends, which included Halle, and Halle still chose to date him. Let this be a reminder to women. If he did this to someone else, he can do it to you too. Ruby Rose told us that boy was abusive and all this behavior showed it too. I hope one day we reach a place where women don't have to touch the orange eye to know that it's hot. Start believing each other's stories. Somebody else says DDG is an abuser and a cheater, and Ruby Rose been told us. This person says, I don't like saying I told you so, but Ruby Rose was called everything under the sun for what she said about DDG. All right. So now let's go back to that weird post. Okay. So now this is the moment he found out. This person is saying DDG found out on live stream that Halle Bailey made up lies and Aiden Ross showed his support. So let's watch this here.
Why are they saying GGDMB? Alright, I'm looking at her story now. What? Oh, fuck. Fuck all that, fuck all that. Don't even.
That can't even be real.
Fuck all that, bro. Fuck all that.
But that can't even be real.
But,
that's the thing.
But don't even. But you remember we talked about last night? Fuck all that. Let me say something. It's not.
No, I'm saying, but I don't know where that even came from.
Yo, stop these fake allegations. This is a father. This is a real person. It's a good human being.
Even, but I don't
But
understand.
hey, bro, we on stream, bro.
Come on, like I gotta be.
Just don't do it, bro. Come here.
Don't even make no
Fuck
sense.
all that. That's my real friend. We're not gonna do no false shit to ruin this stream. He's a great human being. He does a lot for a lot of people. He's a man. He's a father, and we're gonna respect him. We're gonna love him. WDDG, and fuck anyone who got anything to say.
Fuck the fake narratives, my nigga. Stop the bull.
Okay, whatever, Aiden Ross. I don't care about anything he has to say. What's this person? Neon showed his support to DDG. Notice it's all the streamers going hard for DDG.
Gave me that vibe at all, and I don't think he would do such a thing, bro. I fuck with DDG heavy. Real shit. DDG is a pioneer to the game. YouTube, streaming, everything, making music. You guys hate on him, bro. I don't know. My community is so fucking toxic, bro. This guy is... Everyone put WDDG in the chat, bro. Gave me that vibe at all, and I don't think he would do such a thing, bro.
Okay, just because somebody doesn't give you a vibe, you don't know what people do behind closed doors. I mean, he could be like the coolest streamer, you know, a great friend. Of course, because you guys are seeing the fun side of DDG. But you don't know what he does behind the scenes. You don't know what happens in the bedroom behind closed doors when it's just the two of them. So this is somebody else, Deshae Faust. I don't even know who this is. Deshae Faust claims that it was actually Halle Bailey who was allegedly physically abusive in the relationship with DDG. The truth always comes to light. Okay, so let's see what Deshae Faust has to say.
Crazy, bro. D has always held his tongue the whole time. Bro, they've been through so much shit, bro. Real shit. Real shit. Nigga. The Diddy used to tell me, nigga, she used to smack the shit out of him on the bed. He chilling. She smacked the shit out of him. Real shit. Bow. He was sitting in his bed. Bow. Like, real shit. That's what I'm saying, bro. Real shit. Like, I'm saying, bro. Like, I'm just saying, bro. Like, he not gonna talk or whatever the fuck he wanna say. Whatever, bro. He can say whatever he wanna, or you're not gonna say. But I'm not gonna let people think that my dog is some fucking abuser or some shit, bro. Hell nah. Hell nah. I'm not gonna let no people think my dog an abuser or some shit, bro. Nigga is not no fucking abuser. This nigga do not be putting his hands on women or trying to do that type of shit, bro. Bro. Never.
Okay, so people in the chat are saying that what's his name? Deshae Faust is short and he's bisexual. Somebody's wait, what? Somebody said he's a dusty clown. They said Deshae, who's been accused of SA and being a rainbow. Is he on the DL or something? He's a bisexual DL man? I don't know who this man. I don't know any of these young streamers. I seen Neon once or twice. I don't know who Deshae is. People are saying that he's a short bisexual deviant. I don't know, child. Okay. Now let me say this. Do I believe that Halle made it put hands on DDG? I could see that. I've always told y'all, I don't believe the soft princess voice. I think two of them together have done some things. I think they had a lot of things in common. One being nasty towards employees. You know, I've covered stories about how they treated employees, how she got that Russian lady who was also pregnant, how, you know, they got her trolled, compliments of DDG, and she, you know, she helped to facilitate that as well. I could see them getting into it, her putting hands. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to act like, she was totally innocent, allegedly. I can see that because she says that she's the one. She also has a temper. But like I said before, abuse is never okay on either side. So if she was putting hands on him, she's also wrong. Keep your damn hands to yourself. But again, she has the receipts. She went to court. And obviously at some point in time, even if they were going back and forth, fighting, it got to the point where it was what? Team too much. So he's saying what he may have saw. Again, none of us were there. But I'm saying here on my platform, domestic violence is not okay on either side, from either gender. A woman has no right to put her hands on a man, and a man definitely has no right to put his hands on a woman. Point blank, period. Let's see here. Somebody says, okay, so Chelsea says, it says in the court docs they both started fighting and he grabbed her and slammed her head on the steering wheel. Yeah, I did see that. Somebody else says she's mischievous, not seriously threatening. My opinion says Rihanna was wrong too. MD says she smacked a Dusty. Okay. All right. The chat is chatting. Let's see what's next on this docket. Okay, that was the mama speaking. Okay, now who's this? Looks like another streamer. Baby Rich, another friend of DDG, has come out and claims that Halle Bailey was the one being aggressive. Okay, I don't know who Baby Rich is, never heard of him, but let's hear what Baby Rich has to say. Like I said, we're gonna listen to all sides here. Let's see.
Fucked up shit. You get what I'm saying? Halle Bailey claims DDG attacked her. So listen, man. I've been around before while they got into it. And like I said before, I don't get into family issues. I stayed the fuck out the way. I done seen them get into it before. And let me put it like this. I'm gonna put it like this. As a man, matter of fact, let me go to the, hold on, wait. Have you ever been in a situation where a woman is just whooping the, matter of fact, fuck that, let's go.
Look at her arm. Literally the same exact pose, the same everything as Ruby Rose's arm in 2021. That's crazy.
I get into it. Halle was beating the fuck out of this nigga. I'm talking about swinging on this nigga. I'm talking about piecing this nigga up. Ha, 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 ha. You feel me? So, are you just, as a nigga, are you just gonna sit there and just hands behind your back? No. Like, what are you gonna do? Stop, hey. Stop. Hey, stop. Stop. Restrain him.
You know what you do? And this is for all the men in the chat. You try to restrain, but you call the police. You start your own paper trail. Remember, rest in peace, Naya Rivera. But y'all know on this channel, I'm going to keep it real, just like I said about Kim Porter earlier in the chat. Remember, Naya Rivera would get drunk and thought she could keep putting hands on Big Sean. He caught the police on her ass. She caught a case. So, I mean, you have the right to also file police charges. If she was, whop, and two-piecing them, call the police. Nobody has the right to put hands on you. Call the police. Get her a mugshot too. Whatever happened to that? You're a victim. Speak out. So again, I don't want to hear all that. Like there was nothing else he could do. What's a nigga supposed to do? Call the police. The same way these females be calling polices. Call the police. Start a paper trail. Especially if there's a child involved. That's just common sense. All right, let's see who this one is. These streamers are funny. So Illuminati, and I've heard of him before. Then he disappeared for some years. So let's see. He said, So Illuminati speaks on DDG's situation, telling DDG fans to show love because he needs it. Okay, so all the guys are this. Okay. All right, well, let's listen to what Soul has to say.
If you a DDG fan, he needs you more than that. This is the first time he actually really going through something in his whole career. He needs y'all more than ever right now, bro. Seriously. And he can't even come and speak his mind, I heard. He can't even say nothing. That's how they get you. Motherfucker could just come and say whatever she want. Show some fucking pictures. And the nigga can't say nothing. And bro, they say Halle Berry has granted a domestic violence restraining order against DDG. I want y'all to know straight up, I don't support that domestic shit at all. And I don't know the story. I just know how the industry work. I've been warned this nigga. Yo, bitch is from Disney, nigga. Nigga, that's Little Mermaid. That's tough. Nigga, she walking property. Nigga, that's somebody moot, bro. This shit is low-key sad because they trying to destroy his image and everything that he worked hard for. My nigga been grinding. We know. Bro, my nigga sleep on stream. We see this nigga every fucking day. They trying to delete all that and make him look like some crazy shit.
Well,
if you a DDG.
Okay, wait, but objection. I'm confused. He was accused of abusing Ruby Rose not even a few years ago. And he seemed to bounce back fine from that. You know, at some point in time, everybody can't be lying. And like I always say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, so now we got Dub. I don't know who this is. Dub gets upset speaking on DDG, called him and asked him for advice on how to see his son. Okay, all right, let's watch Dub.
Me and my brother had normal conversations, and then he'll hear woo up in the background. He'll call me and be like, bro, man, I know Brittany don't like you, man. I know she like probably hates you, bro, but what do you do to get woo up every day? Like, how do you still have him with y'all relationship, bro? I'll be like, I don't know, bro. I just, I'm like, on that aspect, I don't know, bro. I keep it normal, bro. Like, I don't say nothing about her, bro. I don't say nothing. I still give her what she want. I still make sure she like 100% good, bro. So I never have to not be with my kid.
Oh, okay. So they're saying in the chat that Dub is his brother. So his brother's a streamer too? They don't look nothing alike though. They got different dads. They don't look nothing alike. I didn't know that was his brother. Okay. All right. And so Dub, who is his big brother, I'm assuming? I'm assuming it's his big brother. So he doesn't get along with his baby mama either. Interesting. And then from what he's saying, it sounds like they have a toxic relationship, him and the baby mama. Okay. Then they go on to post this. Over 2 minutes of Halle Bailey with her own words saying that she's the problem in the relationship. Not they done strung together a 2 minute and 32-second clip. All right, oh, they going hard for DDG, boy.
In a relationship, I think I have anxious attachment style. Everybody knows I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate. I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will go to battle with my yelling, with my words, everything. I'm good at that, right? And if I gotta yell or check anyone, that's what I gotta do. That's just the way I be. Clap back or sit back. I always have to choose clap back. I'm sorry. I'm a very kind person, but if somebody pokes at me or the people that I love, it's over for you. I'm an Aries. Sorry. Never have I ever started drama with my boyfriend for no reason.
Put it down.
I've I'm territorial. I'm a jealous girlfriend. I'm a territorial girlfriend. Where you go, who are you with? That's me. I am nosy, number one. And number two, I like drama. I just don't like drama in my life, but I love watching it in other people's. So, I love my baby so much. I need him with me in order to function, in order to be able to do the scenes and everything. So, he's been out here with me majority of the time. But this week, and I go home on the weekends. But this week, I had a lighter week, and I'm going home tomorrow. So I got here last night, and I'm going home tomorrow. So I was like, let me try to test myself and see if I can be without him for a day and leave him, let him and his daddy have daddy and son time. And you guys, I miss him so much. But everybody knows Moo is the best daddy to him, but I miss him so much. Yesterday on the plane, I was crying, and I went to, you know, the little airport stores. I bought a teddy bear, and I was like clutching it to my chest. I bought a Build-A-Bear and a blanket, and I was clutching it to my chest, literally on the plane last night, crying to not feel like miserable without him. I love him so much, guys. I don't know how this is possible. Anyway.
Oh my God, that was such an annoying long story. And then the burn. So somebody says, Sierra in the chat says, Dub broke up with his baby mama a couple years ago. They raised their son together for years. Of course, co-parenting is hard. DDG and Halle didn't even know each other for real. Just having babies, shaking my damn head. Okay, so Dub was actually with his baby mama for a while. Okay. So and then people said the whole family. I didn't know the whole DDG family streams. I didn't know that. So now who is this? The temporary restraining order placed on DDG is super easy to get and doesn't require any proof at all. Let's see, what else? I don't feel like hearing another 2 minutes. A photo from Halle Bailey's TikTok that shows her chipped tooth years before the supposed incident.
I will fear no evil. One of the officers turned to me.
I'm like, why is his daddy talking? What the hell? Okay, well, this doesn't make any sense because earlier with the evidence and the receipts, y'all were saying that the chipped tooth was Chloe, the sisters. Now you're saying that this is a picture from 2022 and her tooth is chipped. So at this point, you're just reaching in this thread. Y'all are just putting anything together in this Twitter thread. Because earlier they said it was Chloe's tooth. Now it's Holly's. Okay. All right. Okay. The thread is done. Pray for DDG and all fathers. Okay. All right. Let me come back on screen. So, like I said, I'm always going to show both sides. The internet is divided over this whole DDG and Halle Bailey situation. They feel like she started the fight. You know, they feel like he didn't put hands on her. So it is a lot going on with this. It looks like a lot of the guys, a lot of the streamers, they're standing by their buddy. Again, I just want to reiterate again, if you are in an abusive situation, if you are a man and a woman puts her hands on you, you have every right to call the police and file a police report. Point blank, period. That doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you less of a man. That means that you're protecting yourself in the event that, you know, this crazy female ends up trying to twist the narrative and make you out to be the bad guy. You know, start your own paper trail. If you're, you know, if he was being abused, he had every right to call the police. I'm trying to pull up something here. Look, Big Sean did it. See, I keep receipts. That's why I respect Big Sean. Big Sean said absolutely. And Naya Rivera's little. Rest her soul. Who remembers when Naya Rivera's putting hands on Big Sean, was whooping Big Sean's ass? Okay? So instead of fighting her back, he called the police and got her arrested. Big Sean's ex, Naya Rivera, arrested for domestic battery. Oh, actually, it was for her husband. I'm sorry. The husband. Because she put hands on Big Sean before and nobody believed Big Sean. And then the husband, he ended up calling the police on her. And then Big Sean came out, was like, I tried to tell y'all she was crazy and she was putting hands on me, but nobody believed the black man. That's what it was. Because he was calling her out back in the day. But yeah, here she was right here.
Really?
So, you know, Naya, at certain points, she was a terror behind the scenes, too.
Naya Maria Riviera?
Yeah. You know, this is not to shade her because, you know, the poor girl passed. But all I'm saying is that if you are a man and, you know, you are being abused, you have every right to call the police. Because, like I said, Big Sean called it out and said she was crazy. And then dropped the song, I Don't Fuck With You. You know, and, you know, people thought Big Sean was just lying. You know, he was just mad. And then she tried to put hands on the husband. The husband called the police. He said, fuck this shit. Objection. Take her ass to jail. Arrest her. She don't know how to keep her hands to herself. I'm not Big Sean. You're going to big jail. Let me stop. So, again, if Halle Bailey is a terror behind the scenes and all she does is terrorize DDG, DDG should have been calling the police on her, point blank, period. Nobody deserves to be abused. So, that's all I'm saying. Let me read these last few super chats. I've been on here for almost 3 hours, child. It's time for me to go. Let's see here. Anita Harris says, hey, unfortunately, I was locked up in LA County Jail last year with a transgender man. Full peen and breast, housed with women for 14 days. Never again. Damn. Well, sis, I'm glad you made it out of there safe and not pregnant. Because I heard them transgender men be in jail knocking up women. And then some of them don't even be transgender. They just be making that shit up so they can be in the women's cell. So I'm just glad you made it out of there safe. You learned your lesson and, you know, you're back on the right track. So thank you for that information. Wow. I thought they were supposed to stop putting transgender men in cells with women. Remember there was one a few years ago, knocked up half the prison. Everybody, you get a baby, you get a baby, you get at least like 10 inmates were knocked up by the same transgender man. At that point, he's not transgender. He's perfectly fucking straight. You like cooch, sir. Yeah, it's past my bedtime. You know? I need to go to sleep. He done knocked up half the damn prison. Fuck out of here. He's not transgender at all. So whole straight man. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. For the sake of Haiti, what's up? They said when you're in prison, you don't have rights. You are the state's property. I believe it. I definitely believe it. Thank you. Let's see here. Okay, Black Love says, every time I see Halle, she's always trying to defend herself. He talks about her. She doesn't talk about him, but yet she's viewed as being the problem. Exactly. You know, and again, I'm not saying that she's all the way innocent because I think that there's a darker side to Halle, and I've caught that out before. I've held her accountable when she's done stupid stuff to innocent store clerks and stuff, right? But that doesn't excuse abuse. But I do think, you know, at the end of the day, he does speak on her constantly. Even when they broke up, Halle didn't say anything. She mourned her relationship in peace, but, you know, he wouldn't shut his mouth. He went from platform to platform. He literally went on a hobo tour talking about their breakup. He keeps her name in his mouth. And he does it because I feel like low-key he's trying to ruin her reputation. He's mad he doesn't have her. He has a baby that he wanted. But he wants people to see that she's not who she proclaims to be. Behind that soft voice and that Disney, exterior, she's somebody else. I really feel like that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to mess up her reputation purposely, out of jealousy. But thank you for the super chat, sis. Shout out to Chloe Edgeran. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name, but she gifted 2 memberships. So there's 2 free memberships if y'all want to join. Thank you so much, sis. Theo Allen. Ooh, hold on, it just refreshed. Theo Allen sent $4.99 says, "Hey T, love you. Imagine having IG and the devil advocate for you. None of these men have great images." Ooh. Yeah, I don't know most of them. I didn't know, that was his brother. So I don't know a lot of these streamers. I don't really watch streamers. They're young. They're all like in their 20s. And it seems like they just sit on stream and dance to music and scream like Kai Cenat. I'm too old for that shit. So I don't know most of the streamers, but you bless their heart, child. Because y'all drugged that Deshae Foss man. Y'all said he was a bisexual deviant. Okay, chat. Y'all was going in on him. I ain't never heard of him. Let's see here. Selena says DVD and his clown gang. Oh, so it seems like a lot of people are saying that these guys that are defending him, they're all clowns. So they're not like top tier guys in the streaming world. Okay. Got it. King Tut says Halle was a fan of DDG. I believe it. So she's young, so she's probably watching his streams. Yeah. It's sad. Krista Monique sent $4.99 says, "As someone who's been in the industry since the Vixen days, you told no lies. Love you, T." Love you too, and thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, sis. Tropicana sent $4.99 says, "The saddest part is that most of these streamers' audiences are kids, and they shouldn't be allowed to discuss this on their platform." Wow, that is true. It is a lot of young people who watch streamers. That's very true. Thank you for the super chat. Henderson family sent $4.99 says, "Poor excuses to say what would you do. Johnny Depp recorded everything. Probes are the only reason he won the case. You can walk away too. Simple." Yeah, that was a good thing for Johnny Depp that he had a lot of hidden receipts and he was able to come back and, later on get Amber Heard and sue her and everything else. So I don't want to hear all that. What is he supposed to do? File your own restraining order. Call the police. Naya Rivera's husband was like, "Yeah, no, you're not going to put hands on me like you did Big Sean." He called the police on her ass and sat her down. Again, like I said, I'm not saying that she's innocent. Maybe she was putting hands on him. But she has her proof. Where's his proof? I don't want to just hear from a bunch of young streamers. He needs to bring his own receipts out showing, "Hey, on this date, she punched me in my nose. Here's the picture of me," you know what I'm saying? Or, him recording her cussing him out and, fighting. Where's his ring footage? Because she seems to have a lot of receipts. She has ring camera footage and everything. Where's his camera footage? He probably don't got it because he was her terrorizer. And she was just responding. So who knows? Who knows? Jasmine Jones sent $9.99 says he should have chose better. Also, temporary restraining orders are not easy to obtain. Yeah, and she was able to get one. So that says a lot. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah. That's what a lot of these guys tell women, right? The guy from Fresh and Fit, aren't they always telling women they should have chose better? So, yeah, I definitely get that sentiment. Let's see here. Daisha Gray says, "I came late, not sure if it was already stated, but wasn't Kelsey pregnant during the trial? She also said something in her diss track on Who Shot Ya. Sounds like a confession to me." Thank you so much for the super chat. So yeah, this has been a wonderful stream. We've had over 11,000 people in here. Please make sure you guys hit the like button if you guys enjoyed this stream. Thank y'all for spending today with me. We got through a lot. Child, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. Been out here for almost 3 hours. We got through a lot of information, a lot of tea, you know, just a lot of conversations. Again, I appreciate you guys for coming through and just always showing me love and support my platform. It means the most to me. So everyone, please have a good night. I'll try and drop some more videos this week. So definitely stay tuned. I'm going to be keeping up with the Diddy trial. So I'll be, you know, trying to read the transcripts and all that stuff as the information comes out. So I will see you guys later. Everyone have a good night. Bye, you guys. Love